Every night it's all the same, reliving my darkest shame. 'Cause I'm never free from this addiction, affliction, addicted to my misery. I cannot detox from this condition, conviction, addicted to my misery box. Oh, I'm never free from this addiction, affliction, addicted to my misery. Cannot detox from this condition, conviction, addicted to my misery box. Now your fate is where I bled. You took the weight inside my head, took my loss, bore my cross, walked my miles so that I might smile. Gave your heart, paid the price that I should pay. Now there it is, you stay forever, ever locked away. Should feel sane, should feel whole, but your pain is in my soul. 'Cause I'm still never free from this addiction, affliction. And now it's yours, but still in me. I cannot detox from this condition, conviction. You're inside my misery box. I'm still never free from this addiction, affliction. Now it's yours, but still in me. Cannot detox from this condition, conviction. You're inside my misery box. I don't deserve you, you stay true. I want to save you from my misery. You couldn't save me from my misery. I'm addicted to my misery box, addicted to my misery box.
And a good morning, best Chad. Now, bright and early again, Chad. Bright and early once again. We have 30 minutes late, but we're here, Chad. We managed to make it today. Fantastic. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Hope you had a wonderful, fantastic Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and a fantastic Thursday so far. Tomorrow, of course, is Weeb Day. But today should be pretty interesting. Got some stuff together today. Some videos we can watch together. Some interesting topics to get into. Let's see here. Got this. All right. Where is it? All right. Look, this one is for tomorrow. Got this all set up over here. Okay, good. It's all set up. Fantastic. Okay, so once again, Chet. I have we'll go through this. We'll go to the show, and if we make it to Pillarman, by the end of the show, if we make it to Pillarman, then I have a couple more things to show you by the end, and they are more Warcraft related things. But this time, it's not a AI movie. Although I did find out that Arthas movie is actually a series they've been making of AI movies, which is kind of very interesting. Like they did this, the Culling of Strathholm. Like that one's also a movie they made. The same people, I think. So but it's not that one this time. I got some interesting other interesting videos, Warcraft related, that you might enjoy because it's about like how Warcraft became a Disney game and how it left you. You did not leave Warcraft. Warcraft left you, and Warcraft was a huge thing because of World of Warcraft, and it really made its mark on I guess the gaming world because of World of Warcraft. It kind of sparked the whole MMO craze. So if we do make it to Pillarman by the end of the stream, we will watch at least one of those videos, chat. So there we go, there we go. There it is. The offer is on the table. Let's see what happens. That's a bomb. Says morning, folks. If I remember correctly, when Disney kept doing twist villains like a fading fade, but a fading fad, but you what doesn't go out of style? You know what doesn't go out of style? Pure evil villains. I have a new appreciation for those type of villains. Yeah, this you will always need like a pure evil two-dimensional villain. It's always going to be a useful tool. Now you if you have, like, for example, I always say with a trilogy, if you're doing a trilogy or a first installment of a long series, yeah, your main bad guy should probably be on the two-dimensional side. If it's a bad guy at all, it could be like a natural disaster or something like that. Because going along with Brandon Sanderson's points theory, right? It's how it goes, where you only have so many allotted points in any sort of given story to allot somewhere before the audience gets bored. So what you need to do is you need to prioritize what's important. And in the first installment of pretty much any series or whatever, you kind of need to focus on the main character. And it's just what happens. If you look at the old stories of the old school superheroes, like Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, all that stuff, that's exactly what they do. It's exactly what they do. It's all about it's all about explaining their powers, who they are, having fun with their first story. It's usually very interesting in that way. So in Nolan's trilogy, you know, the I know Christopher Nolan's a hot topic right now, but the thing is, in the first movie of the trilogy, it's called Batman Begins. It's all about Batman. Now we have a really interesting villain in Ra's al Ghul, but really he's not really a domineering part of the movie. Like he's Batman's mentor in terms of his skill set, like his ninja style skill set. He is Batman's mentor for quite a while, but he plays the role of the mentor. So that's kind of so he's woven into the story in that way. And then only after we see him graduate, you see Batman graduate the ninja school. he's he's like, okay, here's the real thing. Here's the real reason I've trained you, Bruce Wayne, because I need you to go back to Gotham and destroy it. It's like, I'm not going to do that. That's just silly. And so he rebels. And so that's kind of it for a while. Like after the rebellion of Batman against, or Bruce Wayne against Ra's al Ghul, it kind of leaves. The whole League of Shadows aspect kind of leaves play for a while. And it's mainly just Batman going to Gotham and laying down the law that isn't there. Like he's fighting the bad guys, he's taking down the criminals, the street criminals, taking down the mob, the corrupt politicians, things like that. Batman Begins. And then later on, towards the end of the movie, do we find out that there's a League of Shadows element in play. The Ra's al Ghul is actually back because it was Deckard all the time, and it's interesting. It's really cool twist. But the thing is, the League of Shadows takes a back seat for a big chunk of the movie until we get to the end, and then we get to focus on it. So the long story short, Batman gets most of the focus in Batman Begins, as he should, right? And then of course Dark Knight, a really good follow-up, because it focuses on the ethical opposite of Batman, which is the Joker. And it's a really good movie. And we get to, because we've already introduced Batman, and we know what kind of what he's like, his backstory, all that stuff, his skill set, his goals. Then we get to focus a little bit more on a crazy, over the top villain and his philosophies and things. A more complex villain. And so it would go on like that. It can go on like that. So that's what's supposed to happen. But yeah, pure evil villains. We have a when you have like a first installment, pure evil villains, no no nuance really. Like they're just bad guys. It really does help because it's the audience can see the villain and say, oh, that's the bad guy. You don't have to feel sorry for them. You don't have to go into their backstory all that much. Not really. You just know that they're bad guys. A lot of Disney movies used to have that, including like Atlantis, like the main bad guy in Atlantis. He might be a twist villain, kinda. Even though the kind of the main bad guy and his sidekick lady kind of had an air of menace the entire time, but we can still call him a twist villain. We don't really need to know a lot about him, right? He's just a bad guy, uh, and he's just kind of has this need for greed. Like his whole thing is greed. Everyone's is greed. In fact, all of them are kind of twist villains. It's just that a big chunk of them decide not to be villains anymore. By the time it all comes around, right? They decide not to be villains, and it's just like the main bad guys kind of leave with their men. That's kind of it. So it's about greed. It's not really anything complex. Like they just want to bring back all this stuff to get money. That's about it. Uh, we don't need anything too much. So even though the villains or it's a twist villain, we can see them. We know who they are. We can understand them without too many allocated points being wasted on them, and we can still focus on Milo. Very much so. So yeah, pure evil villains. Some people might say, "Oh, we don't need those anymore. They're obsolete." No, they're very not only they're not obsolete, they are a core element of writing because you do need them sometimes. Good morning, LD and Bez Chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Book Column. Good morning to you, Book Column. Hello to Dr. Crispin says, okay, am I playing Pal World? You got to say getting some major epiphania to Pokemon with some of those guys. Is a Gregory 90. Good morning, Lisha of Best Chat. I finished A Brother's Son, and it was interesting. The story and characters are pretty good. It's a work as a self-contained story. Glib must have had fun. I bet so, yeah. It sounds like he liked and enjoyed himself on that set. Cardi catches late dev and Rumble Chat. Grab a fresh drink and chug it down to start catching up on Thursday. Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see. LW Dubs, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello to you, LW Dubs. By the way, chat, here we go. I want to show you this real quick. Here we go. Boom. Here's the first Batman comic. All right, it begins with Batman. All right, so the first battle, the Batman, a mysterious and adventurous figure fighting for righteousness and apprehending the wrongdoer in his lone battle against the forces of evil of society. His identity remains unknown. And then the first battle is, it's Bruce Wayne with Commissioner Gordon. And we pretty much almost instantly we get like, oh yeah, we're hanging out, smoking, and then boom, crime. It's a murder. There's a murder by the end of the first page, Chad. How often do we get that today in like mainstream comics? How often does this happen? First page, like, hey, we're hanging out, we're smoking, and then what's that? A murder. And then we get to over here, like, hold on, I gotta go, Bruce Wayne. Right? There's been a murder. By Joe, a murder. And then we go in the cop car or his little car, and then he's like, yes, Sergeant, there's been a murder. Yes, a murder. There has been, absolutely. And then, boom, murder. So, like, almost right away, by the end of the page, we get a murder. We're right into it. We know everything. We got Bruce Wayne. We know the Commissioner Gordon. We know what kind of guy he kind of is, and then we get the murder, and then we go over the terms of the murder, all that stuff. So, like immediately we got the main characters, first two panels. And then we got the setup for the crime that we're going to be looking over, and boom, we're getting right to the action. And all of a sudden, page 3, we have got Batman on screen. Modern day comics are like, here's 5 pages of fluff. Here's us talking in a restaurant or something. First page is just kind of like first page I guess is a splash page, but then we go into the real first page, which is the actual story. And what is it? Here's the character waking up or something. Here's a character eating at a restaurant. Here's a character talking on the phone in the park and walking back and forth for like 12 panels. I've seen that before. I think it's like 9 panels or something like that. Maybe it was more. Where it's just the character talking on the phone. That's it. It's like 9 or 12 panels of a character talking on the phone. It's crazy. But anyway, chat. This that's what it was. That's what it was like way back when they first came out with these major characters. It was just like main character set up. All right, time right to the inciting incident. We get right to the conflict. By the end of the first page, boom, we got a dead guy on the ground. It's a Gemini 4704. Good morning, LD and Best Chat. Still on the grind and putting in that hard work. Fantastic. Well done, Gemini. Awesome. Yay, we're on. Absolutely. Cardi Catcher says, good morning, Live and Best Chat. Feminism is among the greatest of evils as never produced a single benefit of humans. As far as I can tell, it just made people miserable. It's a Isaac, good morning. Comic Wiz, good morning to you, Comic Wiz. Ace of Swords, Stylus Archer. To you, good morning, LD and Rumble Chat. Going through the old school Mortal Kombat, some of the best story writing I've read in fighting games. Highly recommend MK Deception. Deception Deadly Alliance. Yeah. In Armageddon, pure fun. Those were fun. I got I think I got all three of those back in the day. They're fun, a lot of fun. It's a good morning, all. If we reach second pyramid, LD will buy a new alarm clock. I have one. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. LT, that is a ball. Good morning. Good morning, LD and Best Chat. Praise be to Space King. Up, down, says, I'm here, everyone. I just have it on TV, so not much chatting. LT, up, down. Comic Wiz says, original Mortal Kombat is always fun and reliable to play before the timeline reset. It's sad to see it's such a rough state after MK9. Yeah, they did something that's kind of interesting with the storyline. They kind of did a whole all that crap never happened, and now here's a new way we're going, a new timeline, and then the new timeline I think was right and trying to prevent the horrors of the first timeline, and then made everything worse. I think that's how that went. It's a Kane Walker. Good morning. The song is hard. I think that means you like it, which is good. Becklathon, blinking to the sunlight morning already. Yes, absolutely. Let's see. Orange Reds, have you tried reaching out to side scrollers? They would like to platform other smaller channels than them. That'd be pretty interesting. I probably should. I'll tell Stu. I'll remind Stu as well. Junebug may cry. Good morning. I'm doing a 12-hour staying up so I can watch this. Also, that Shady stream was great. Glad you liked it. Glad you enjoyed. It was pretty fun. It was a lot of fun, in fact. Lady Fatson says, good morning, LD and Best Chat. What's the nonsense today? Also, Master Samwise released a video on positive masculinity. It's as good as always. Well, that's good. We need more things like that. We need more videos about positive masculinity. What's it called? Master Samwise. We'll check it out here. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Here. It's one on Aragon. Very nice. Get this over here. Awesome. Fantastic. All right. All set up and ready to go. There we go. But I'm going to check it out in a little bit here. The Carbot's animation of the fallout of WoW was killer. Ziflady. Let's see. The Carbot's animation of the fall of wow, there's been an animation about the fall of World of Warcraft. It is crazy. Let's see. Some instructions says, hate WoW, the RTS Warcraft is way better. Yes, the real-time strategy, yes. I played all three, and the third one was really good. Let's see here, chat. Unfortunately, I mean, in the beginning, World of Warcraft was pretty cool also, but then it went way too far, and it went way too far a long time ago. Right now. Jay Price, hello to you. Skeletor, hello to Jay Price. Good morning. Shady Rex says, to be fair, there's a lot of dialogue, so a lot more can be established. I mean, that is true. Now, here's the thing I've noticed with modern day comics versus old school comics. A lot of modern day comics do have a lot of dialogue as well, and yeah, the old school comics are comedically have a comedic amount of. I mean, look at this. Where is it? This is not even as bad as some I've seen. I think it's in Green Lantern, like old school Green Lantern comics. I've seen it where it's here's a caption, here's a editor's note, and then here's three things of dialogue. It's crazy. But the thing is about this dialogue, it's a little more fun, and it's always important. the home of Commissioner Gordon. Like it just tells you like what it means. Socialite and friend, young Bruce Wayne. Like we get a lot of information. And then he goes, and he's like, Bruce Wayne's like, well, Commissioner, anything exciting happening these days? Oh no. Except that this fellow they call Batman follows me. Yes. Uh, so I mean, it's really in your face, and it's kind of almost like campy, but it tells you stuff. And I've read so many of these modern day comics where it's just like here's a bunch of like dialogue diarrhea, this wall after wall of text that says nothing. It says absolutely nothing. Let's see your chat. Let's see Megathon with a $50 super chat. Thank you very much, Megalathon. Very, very generous. Let me go ahead and do this. It's a Megalathon says, man, Warcraft definitely left me. Yeah, I think it left a lot of people. Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Warcraft. I might not have been a fan of Warhammer so much, but Warcraft was my go to back in the day. I guess I played a lot of WoW, but really I liked Warcraft 1, 2, and 3, and I got all my friends into it as well. Let's see, chat. But that definitely left me a slight love for the Draenei side. The game itself is probably the best to play with raiding and dungeons. But the story, beep. I still have a lot of love for the older stuff. The Shadowlands and the assassin of Sylvanas. Wait, they killed Sylvanas? I heard they made it into like this Mary Sue character. I don't think they would kill Sylvanas like again. That's kind of weird. Very interesting. That's very interesting. But anyway, lands and the assassination of Sylvanas. That's interesting. I don't know why they would do that. I'm surprised. I thought last I heard they made her like this awesome Mary Sue that could never do any wrong. I mean, Sylvanas Windrunner was a really good character. Back in Warcraft 3. Very tragic. Like they're all very tragic. The very, very cool storylines back in Warcraft 3. But yeah, I didn't think they would assassinate Sylvanas. That's pretty surprising, actually. And then also, yeah, this is I think the main thing that really drove people away was that it became very soy. The whole thing became very soy very quickly. I mean, Warcraft 3 kind of changed the art style, made it gave its more like very definitive, chunky art style, but it was brutal. Like the Warcraft 3 is brutal. So the whole soyness of modern day WoW definitely did not come from Warcraft 3. It's something that they had to have added later. Thank you very much, Megalathon. Very generous. And of course, I added you to the great list of generous donors. Thank you very much, Megalathon. So now we have David Musselman, the great John Doe, and Takara the Tolkien nerd, and now a Megalathon. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Comic Wiz says, Literature Devil, have you checked out any more Golden Age or Silver Age or Marvel? It's been a while, but I did buy some more. I did buy a little bit more. I think the last one I checked out was Wonder Woman. Let's see how that goes. Let's see. All right, chat. Get this going here. All right. Let's see. Comic Wiz says another issue plaguing modern comics is writing for the trades and omnibuses. So okay, yeah, I think Alan Moore actually complained about that. He had that criticism to go over, where because Alan Moore is, I like his stuff, but he's also a pretentious Britishman, right? And one thing he is pretentious about is the title graphic novel. And so his criticism was like, oh yeah, they call him, he has like such little respect for the graphic novel these days because what they'll do is they'll just collect like 10 issues of She-Hulk together. I think that's the example he uses. It goes like they'll just get together 10 issues of She-Hulk and they'll put it together and they'll call it a graphic novel. It's not a graphic novel. But yeah, that's kind of what it is, and it shows. I remember the whole thing with the gay Green Lantern run. They really were writing for the trades because there's whole entire issues there technically speaking, there's entire issues where nothing happens. There's like no conflict or anything. Just nothing happens because they know that it's going to go in the trades. And even Kelly Sue DeConnick was like, you don't really make money until the trades. And so people start writing for the trades, which means that each installment, each issue is treated more like a chapter than an individual piece of story. And while it doesn't seem so bad, what it does, what allows them to do or gets in the mindset of doing is that, okay, this one is in the middle, so nothing really needs to happen. We seem to carry the characters and story further towards the end, right? That's what happens. But they're sold as individual issues, and when you get that individual issue, it's like, okay, I bought this entire issue for like what, $5.99, and nothing happens. It's just a bunch of people talking in a restaurant, like nothing happens. So when you're selling issues like that, you need to have something happen at every single time. Even in serialized stories, you have something happen every single episode, some conflict. But sometimes here like nothing happens. It's just a bunch of dialogue and discussions and stuff, like talking about their feelings and crap, and it's about it. So yeah, they don't sometimes they don't really take it that far, and they're like lamenting over the fact that they don't really make any money until the trades. But then they go ahead and write only for the trades, making each individual issue kind of boring, and only a few of them are actually meaningful. And it doesn't help that they all have like amateur level writing skills these days, because they fire all the good guys and veterans and they bring in like amateurs that are really cheap. You can thank Brian Michael Bendis for being the architect of this pervasive problem. Yeah, it's just it kind of feeds into itself. It really does. It feeds into itself. Let's see. Caricatures. I've been suggesting side scrollers since the Before Lady Midnight campaign. They would love to have Lit Dev on. I know it. Well, that's pretty cool. I guess I'll give it a try, especially with the new campaign coming up. It's character assassination. Okay, I thought did they kill Sylvanas? Like, this is the assassination of Sylvanas? I didn't know that. But character assassination of her, yes, because she used to be like this tragic Shakespearean character, this noble, honorable elven woman who died for her people but was raised back to life by Arthas. She was like the major problem in Arthas's I guess back. Like she was a major thorn in his side, because she kept her people, her rangers kept like this stalling him and damaging his campaign over and over and over again. So of course when he killed her, he's like, okay, I'll raise you back up as my slave, and he did. And since then she hasn't really been the same. And it was really cool. It was a really cool, like, tragic thing, especially when Arthur started losing his power and he had to go to back to the Ice Crown to become the Lich King, but his control over her waned, and she was able to kind of think for herself, but she still had, she was still undead and kind of lacked the humanity she used to have. And it's like, okay, well, she's not really the good person she used to be. She's very conflicted. She's very, very conflicted on the inside. And then World of Warcraft came along, and they kind of made her this over-the-top Mary Sue character, unfortunately. So I've heard. Let's see your chat. I assume character assassination. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. Like, I didn't know they would kill Sylvanas. That's pretty bold. They get like a new person in there to run the show. Like, we gotta get rid of these Mary Sues, bro. Let's see. This Bly says, do morons actually eat your shit up? I don't know. That'd be crazy. The words, yes. but civilization has taught us not to shit in the streets. Comic Wiz is another troubling trend in modern comics, which started with Bendis is some of today's writers' approach to dialogue. The wall of text, and otherwise without any weight to them, all fluff and no substance. Yes. That's what I've seen in a lot of my modern day comics too. It's just so empty. I just read this comic reread this comic by Tom King, and it's his Riddler one. It's so much fluff. It's just about him bragging and everything. It's crazy. It's like Reddit come to life. All right. Alex Haley's $5 super chat says manga puts multiple different books chapters in book one instead of a floppy for each one. Yeah. I think when they come out, it's several chapters, and each chapter of a manga, oddly enough, is actually very, very tiny, very short. But each chapter of a manga tends to revolve around a conflict. But some of them are shorter than others. Some of them are long, some of them are short, right? Because each chapter kind of goes along as long as the conflict is resolved. Usually, now, sometimes they have like a multi-parter, but the smaller chapters tend to revolve around an issue, and the issue once the issue's over, it's done, and the chapter's done. Carly Kitchen says, she was never the same after she died. Yeah, it's true. She was never the same after she died. She lost a lot of humanity after she died. Carillion Butterfly says, "Oh yeah, hello to you. Yeah, get some good old emojis in there. Hello, hello. Let's see. Because I read comic and I read novels. They're not supposed to feel like the same experience. They're not. They're very different mediums, and for a very good reason. You have to think in a different way. And Neil Gaiman talks about this. Where it's like he started off, his big thing was Sandman. He started off with writing comics, and then he goes into novelizations. It's like they're very different, the mindset, because as a writer in the comic book, you can be a little more lazy for one thing, because all you gotta do is say, okay, this happens and this panel, and you should have this, and then the artist kind of takes over from there. In a novel, you kind of have to use words to paint the entire picture. Let's see. But here we go, Chad. Here we go. There we go. All right, chat. Well, there we go. There we go. So let's get down to business. First one is the antithesis to the modern twist villain. Let's check this out. And it's about a good movie, and a really good movie. Check it out.
I will never forgive this universe. The universe where it's Looney Tunes, not Looney Tunes. The universe where the Monopoly Man doesn't have his monocle. The universe where Treasure Planet will forever be considered as underrated. In a different universe, this absolute masterpiece from Disney is a mega hit comparable to that of Frozen and has tons of shoddy spin-offs and bootleg merchandise. That is the real timeline. But I think we got swallowed by a black hole at some point, and we're spit out in this timeline where 6-7 somehow is funny. God, did that make me feel old. So yeah, I don't need to tell you guys how much of an underrated gem Treasure Planet is, how it is Disney's biggest mistake, because those videos already exist. Everything that ever needs to be said about this movie has been made and regurgitated.
Yeah, it's like what was it? This movie and a few others, right? Were like the push, right, to get 2D animation off the roster so that they can focus on 3D animation. That's what I've heard. It's how the rumor goes. I think they sabotaged it by having it coincide with another movie or something like that. So they really wanted to have 2D animation out, and we've seen that this is likely the case because they kind of just focused hardcore on 3D animations. However, that policy seems to have gone out the window because they've had to bend the knee to 2D animation once again. Now that they're getting Star Wars anime into the mix here, they're bringing that in. Well, I forget what it was called, Visions or Echoes or something like that. Star Wars Visions or Echoes. So it was that's 2D animation. So it is funny to see that the people who were so gung-ho about getting 3D animation to be the forefront of, animation, that they actively sabotaged brilliant 2D movies like Treasure Planet and Atlantis. Only for them to have to bend the knee, right, to anime, because anime is so popular. It's winning the West and it's annihilating anything that Disney has to offer. There we go, chat. Boom. $40. Oh, wait a minute. That's not $40. We're more than that. More than that. Yeah, there we go. 1 second here. All right. But yeah, Treasure Planet, one of my all-time favorites, alongside Atlantis. Atlantis is pretty good. Atlantis and Treasure Planet, and then Titan AE. Titan AE was with another huge one alongside the Iron Giant. Like, these are really huge, 2D animated masterpieces, like really well done movies in terms of the animation style, the stories and things. the imagination, and they just kind of wiped them out. They kind of just brushed them aside, trying to establish 3D as the top dog.
Agitated millions of times already, and I'm just going to dip my beak into the same vomit pile for you guys because we will never stop trying to give this movie the justice it so rightly deserves. The movie is beautiful, from its characters to its set pieces to its story. Everything about it oozes with love and passion, and it's truly a wonder.
Coming with Treasure Planet is a great movie that still holds up. I have to agree. Yeah, it's a really good movie. It also has a good mix of 2D and 3D art and animation. There's a lot of talent and effort and work that went into it. Absolutely. It's really good. It's really good. It's the reason people still talk about it today, despite the fact that it was kind of cast off by its parents. The parents, the people who the companies, I mean, who made it, turns back on it. But there's a lot of effort and passion that went into this work. Absolutely.
And bias and obligation aside, one of, if not the biggest reason for this movie being as good as it is the story between our main protagonist, Jim, and the man standing at the opposite side of the ship. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I am bursting with excitement to yap to y'all about, quite frankly, one of the best villains Disney
It's
has.
a Korean Butterfly. Thanks for the one gifted membership. Appreciate it. Very generous indeed. Thank you very much, Korean Butterfly. All right, let me get. There we go.
Nice.
Oh, yes. Welcome the new member of the Lit Legion who for the past shows and the custom emojis. Thank you very much, Korean Butterfly.
Ever put to screen. A character that walks the fine line of morality and trapezes over our heartstrings. Today, I want to yap about why Long John Silver succeeded in his redemption. Okay, a couple of
One thing you can do if you want to signal the redemption of a villain is you kind of want to see glimpses of their humanity beforehand, and Long John Silver definitely gave us plenty of that. Like in the beginning, he's kind of a bad guy. We kind of see him as in the shadowy figure when he attacks the inn, but then we just see him as this like personable chef who's kind of fun, kind of funny, and then we get to see him like hang out with Jim. He becomes like a good mentor to Jim. And then he's like, "Oh, you got the makings of greatness in you, lad." And then we find out that, of course, if he's the bad guy, he's not only is he a bad guy, he's a captain leader of the bad guys. But then we kind of get hints, right? Get hints that it's not all a ruse. That he does like Jim Hawkins, and he does care about him quite a bit. He tries to deny it and say, it's all fake, because he knows that if he admits it or hints to it being even partly true, they're going to see him as soft. And the pirate's rule is if the captain is soft, we can kill him and get a new captain. So he can't really let that happen. Over the course of the story, we do see that he is legitimately soft with Jim Hawkins. So he does like him. And as a mentor to mentee sort of scenario. And Jim Hawkins does need a father figure. He's looking for a father figure, especially after his dad. I think his dad either walked out and abandoned them straight up, or simply left on an adventure and never came back. I kind of feel like it's that second one. When I was younger, I used to watch the movie and I thought, okay, is he just leaving one day? He's just leaving them because the mom was crying and stuff. So it just feels like he just like, I'm gone, I'm leaving. When really I think it's more along the lines of I gotta go, like I have a job I need to do, I have this adventure I need to go on, and if I do so, I'll be back with lots of money or something like that. And he's never came back, like he died. That's what I'm thinking. Like he's looking for his father. He's looking for a father figure, especially after he lost his. It's a really good story, and Long John Silver is a really interesting character. That's why he's so iconic and so memorable. Jeffrey H. Haskell says, redemption is a strong word. The original book and movie, he has a soft spot for Jim. Him saving Jim at the end is the same as Russell Crowe shooting his right-hand man at the end of 3:10 to Yuma. He's not redeemed. He has his own moral code, and that code comes at odds with his own actions. Right. And even in this movie, he's not necessarily, out of the pirate game. He's escaped. He doesn't want to face justice, because he probably will be hanged or something. But it's we kind of see that there is some goodness in him, and I think that's good enough. He's still like a rascally rogue, but there's still some goodness in him.
Things before we start our yap session. Yes, I will be calling him a villain for most of this video, though many people will argue why he's not actually a villain, he's an antagonist. One, I don't care, because that...
No, he's a villain. I mean, there's a difference between like antagonist and villain. Villain sometimes. A villain is like an evil bad guy, where antagonist is just someone who opposed the main character. And this could be like the main character could be a villain, and the antagonist could be a hero. It could definitely be that way. But Long John Silver is definitely a villain, even in Treasure Planet. It's just that he gets this soft spot for Jim Hawkins. That's kind of it, right? It's kind of it. But he's still a villain, definitely.
It's just extra engagement when people comment that, and
like just because he has a soft spot and you kind of like him, does that mean he's just suddenly not a villain anymore? He's still a villain.
2, he may be an antagonist in this story, but we don't know what he's done before, so the jury's still out on this one.
No, he's a villain in this story. He's still a bad guy in this story.
Another thing is that I have not read the book, so there may be some gaps to my knowledge here about his character, so we'll just be focusing on this terrific movie. So yeah, Mr. Long...
Thank you very much, Jeffrey H. Haskell. Appreciate it. Yeah, people are liking the streams lately. Like it. I like that in return. Lenny Fastlot says they never clarified, which was a great. It spoke to all the kids who lost their dads for various reasons, not just the milk run. Yeah, it could be anything. Like it could be like he's just leaving. All you see in that little montage song is him leaving. You don't really exactly know why, but it could be for a number of reasons. But you don't exactly know why. Seg says, I never really liked the notion of the redemption arc because the implication seems to be that the subject has to be conflicted at worst. Yeah, because it's like he has to be conflicted by that notion of redemption because the main character who seeks redemption has to know they've done something wrong and feel as though they have not paid the price for those wrongdoings yet. And sometimes they don't need to. Like sometimes it's like something they view as it themselves in the wrong. Like Spider-Man will just blame himself for literally everything. But sometimes they are like Darth Vader. Like this Darth Vader at the end. Like he's I'm not sure if he wants to redeem himself, but he wants to do the right thing. He wants to save his son. But he does have a lot to redeem himself for. Seg says that and the fixation of the concept can come at the cost of just making a character narrative that makes sense. I mean, that's a big ask today. How about you have a story that and the character that makes sense? And today, it's not really something they can do very well. Lenny Facet says Silver was an actual complication villain, not the slop that passes for misunderstood or complicated these days. Yeah, misunderstood and complicated means they're just evil, but they're sad, and therefore, because they were sad, and because society was mean to them, it's okay that they can do evil things. It's fine. It's okay. Well, society was mean to me, so it's okay. They actually had this joke in Scrubs with Jordan, where she's mean to people, and she goes, "My parents are really mean to me," and it usually gets people to go, "Oh, okay." Turns out though, her parents were not mean to her, and she's just a mean person. She goes, I don't know why I'm this way. My parents were actually really supportive and caring. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter why you're like this. It's wrong for you to be like that. Your parents might have been mean to you, but it does not excuse you from doing evil. It just doesn't. But that is the lesson they're trying to push in today's media. That it's okay to do evil. In fact, you should do evil if people are mean to you. So Humane says that he did enough to gain the respect of a bunch of ruthless, greedy pirates. Yeah, he definitely, and he wasn't just part of a gang of ruthless, greedy pirates. He was a leader of a gang of ruthless, greedy pirates. He definitely was a villain for the story. Absolutely. And thinking to every iteration, Long John Silver was a ruthless villain. And they said, "Oh, you've gone soft." Like the guys are like, "You've gone soft, Silver." Right? So he was not beforehand, and they probably know that. If I've seen him do like ruthless things, Champion Charges, I must face my own antagonist, morning hunger. Have a great day, LD and Chad. We'll have a great day to you as well. Shadowing Tronics, hello to you, and have a fantastic day. Comic Book says Treasure Island remains one of my favorite novels growing up. It's a classic for a reason. Like it's still talked about today. In fact, it was a major one. I mean, we went over Page Master yesterday. It was a major factor in Page Master as well. That was a big one. They got to meet Long John Silver, and he was voiced by I can't believe I forgot his name. He was voiced by Winnie the Pooh slash Pete from Goofy. What's his name? I forgot his name. I don't know why I forgot his name. He's one of my favorite voice actors of all time because he's voices so many people. Jim Cummings. That's it. Jim Cummings. He was voicing Jim Cummings in everything. So it's good. That's it. Jim Cummings. Yeah. So he's like Long John Silver is obviously voiced by Jim Cummings, and it's good stuff. Like that was a major section in Page Master. Yeah, that's it. Jim Cummings. But yeah, it was a major section in Page Master for a reason. It's a classic, absolute classic.
John Silver, not to be confused with the actually nefarious fast food chain, is the main antagonist of Treasure Planet.
I don't ever remember eating a Long John Silver. I think I have before, but it hasn't been since I was a kid. But I remember the fish sandwiches. I think I got fish sandwiches from them during Lent, but that's about it.
He's this jolly old cyborg / bear over here, and I'm really sad because in the conversation of great villains, he gets left out. Mainly because
I haven't had to go to them because during Lent, everyone offers fish sandwiches. And now I just make my own.
Of this movie being so underrated that his name doesn't share the same stage of those of Scar or Frollo. And in my opinion...
Well, Scar and Frollo are just pure evil. I mean, Frollo's a little bit more complex because he's kind of wicked, and then he becomes truly evil. Once he does that his Hellfire song, where he's just fully embracing evil instead of kind of trying to pretending towards good.
He should have his own special spot in that pantheon, mainly because he broke the Disney mold at the time of having spectacularly diabolical villains that are just simply evil, and 24 years after, he's unfortunately still a rare breed. Because John Silver is not your typical "look at me, I'm evil" type of villain, nor your "look at me, I'm actually evil."
Oh, that was awful. It's so cringe. It was so cringe. Was it what is it? Zootopia 2? And that was a cringe villain. Very cringe. Well, have I never said the word sandwiches before? Yeah, that's how I pronounce it. So get used to it. So I assume Jim's dad left their home for a very good reason. Because look at his mom. You're not leaving that unless you're being forced to. I mean, yeah. I think why would he do? Like the only reason why he would leave the family, other than I'm going on an adventure and I'll hopefully be back, is that that he doesn't want to raise a kid, which I guess could be a legitimate thing that would drive a guy away. But legitimate as in okay, there's guys like that, but I don't think so. It kind of felt like it was more like he was leaving on a ship, so it kind of felt more along the lines of, I'm going on this dangerous journey, and she doesn't want him to go, but he's going anyway because it's going to really help out the family. But the danger part comes in and kills him. Anyway.
Piece of dog shit you would see in Disney movies nowadays. He's an actual sympathetic character, not born from the tragedy of his origin, but rather the tragedy of who he really is and how it puts him in a dilemma of achieving his nefarious goals versus leaving it all behind for the boy he's grown close to. And to understand how this happened, we have to look at the story of Jimmy Hopkins. Wait, that's the guy from Bully. We have to look at the story of Jim Hawkins and the quest to find Treasure Planet. Now, the dominoes of the plot started to fall when old Jawkins over here rescued the space turtle Bones, a turtle who barely escaped being hunted down by space pirates because he had the map to Treasure Planet with him. After the old bastard warned Jiminy of the cyborg that's hunting him down, he proceeded to croak right as said space pirates and Cyborg came and burned down Jimson's mom's inn. From this moment on, we were indirectly told that
Gabe Wright says, "What are your favorite Pixar movies?" Mine is Toy Story trilogy. I do like Toy Story. I really like Toy Story as a kid. I got the VHS of it, and I watched it over and over and over again. I really like that one. So that would have to be just objectively one of my top Pixar movies. But I also ended up liking Wall-E. I think Wall-E had a lot of heart in it. I like Cars. I'm not sure if Cars is my favorites, oddly enough, but I did like it. I thought it was pretty fine. What of course, Incredibles. I like Incredibles. Bugs Life. Bugs Life has to be one of my favorites, I would say. So, the Toy Story, A Bug's Life, and I say Finding Nemo. I want to say Finding Nemo, but I'm not really sure about Finding Nemo would be like my most beloved Pixar movie. Although I did like it. Let me see. I had to look at a list here, and yeah, Toy Story has to be one of my top favorites, just by virtue of I watched it so many times and I enjoyed it so much. And The Incredibles has to be up there because I really like The Incredibles and what they did. Incredibles 1, anyway. That's really good. And Bugs Life, I really like the Bugs Life, especially because I kind of watched it alongside Ants. I thought those are both like this is pretty fun. Let's see. Golden Reaper, this is a $5 super chat. Let's see. Golden Reaper says Silver doesn't even look handsome or anything. Usually they make the redeemable characters handsome. Yeah, they don't have to. Yeah, Long John Silver doesn't have to be handsome. In fact, I think his probably one of his most handsome depictions was probably from Muppet Treasure Island, which is where he's Tim Curry plays him. And it was a lot of fun. That's a good movie. I like that movie as well. That's a good movie. I remember that. I'm being excited when that came on the TV. Like, oh yeah, Muppet Treasure Island. Let's see. Curly Butterflies says, imagine if Ellie sang all of Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, it's a good movie as well. I like the movie as well. Shady Rick says, hey, A Bug's Life. It deserves more love. It's got some good quotes. It does. It's a good movie. Bug's Life. It actually is one of my favorites. I used to watch that one quite a bit. The conflict is really interesting. It's a really interesting conflict. You have to collect all this food before the grasshoppers come back, and then Flick, who's trying to do right by his colony, actually ruins the entire thing. Then now they have to get more of it, and now it's like, okay, well, here's our solution. We're gonna have to fight back. And he's like, okay, well, I got a bunch of circus performers who are not mercenaries. It's really good twists and stuff. It's really, and the tension is high because we use dramatic irony, which is, we as the audience, we know they are just circus performers, but they're trying to play themselves off. Well, actually, they're not actually. We know they're just circus performers, and Flick thinks they're warriors, and they think they're just being hired to be circus performers. So it's really funny that just it comes out like, what, you're not warriors? No, we're just circus performers. And then we have to find out, like, oh man, what are they going to do now? You messed up again, Flick.
this supposed cyborg is the main villain we should be looking out for, the driving force of the plot. And if this were just a straightforward story, that scene would have revealed the appearance of the cyborg, possibly dropping one-liners while everything burned down around him, and it would be a cat-and-mouse situation where Jim Rick tries to find Treasure Planet while these pirates are chasing them. But we didn't get that. Instead, we got choking close-up shots of his shadows and shots of his men tearing the place looking for the map. We didn't get to see who our villain was, and this delayed our gratification. It built the mystery, and ultimately it built tension, the very thing needed for a great story. So for a big part of the first quarter of the movie, we know there is a threat, but we don't know who it is. And for a moment, this looks like it would be a predecessor to all the twist villains Disney's fond of nowadays, where they would keep the tension by making us guess who the threat is. And I am so glad that wasn't the case. Because as the story progressed, when Jim Lila and Dr. Doppler assembled a crew to find Treasure Planet, we are introduced to a litany of characters. We have Rada over here, and definitely not Furry Baits, and
Cyborg.
the chef for the whole crew. Immediately, Jemimaya was wary of him, remembering the cyborg Bones warned him about. But even through caution, and even after Jim Sander tries to pry information out of the suspicious cyborg, the
Like, if you look at this scene where he's just cooking, it's crazy. It's insane. Look at this animation. All like the movements with his arm and everything. It's a really, really, they have to really appreciate, you know, how the animation and effort it took
even through caution, and even
to make this scene.
even after Jim Sander tries to pry information out of the suspicious cyborg, the man feigned innocence.
It's crazy. Like, animation is crazy. It looks like it's so good because when it's good, it seems like, oh, it's effortless. But when they do these big moments, it's like, wow, you know, a lot of effort went into that. A lot of effort. Shady Rex says Hopper's one of Disney's best villains, if not the best. I mean, he is like heartless and evil. Like that guy is. Hopper is very interesting because he's not just like two-dimensionally evil. He is very much a villain, but he's also very intelligent, which probably makes him one of the scariest villains in the roster. I will fight hard on that. I mean, Bugs Life is a really good movie, and they didn't give Bugs Life the attention it needed. The Bugs Life definitely deserves like a second movie, at least. I would think that everything under the sun of Pixar got a sequel. Even Incredibles got a sequel, but Bugs Life didn't. I think they could do something interesting with the Bugs Life too. If they got people who knew what they were doing anyway. I think they lost all those people. And see, I like to say like Seuss is a good mix of 3D and 2D. Yes, that's what made it so interesting. Like it had, you know, we have mostly 2D, but then we'll have like the ships taking off, you know, some action scene, and you could tell it's 3D, but it's very interesting 3D.
Claiming that he's not the only cyborg, and he puts us at ease by being just an actual jolly guy that has a mix of a Scottish and pirate accent. And all was looking good.
Well, that's kind of why, I mean, if that's why people think that he's an antagonist, not a villain, that's they got you, because that's what makes Long John Silver so interesting, is that he is a bad guy. He's just a con man as well. Because look at their plan. Like, their plan is not, we're going to be pirates and then invade the ship, right? Their plan is, we just con this guy into hiring us. At least in Treasure Planet, Long John Silver conned Dr. Doppler into hiring them. That's what happened. And so that's what happened. His personality is so good that he was able to do that, and he's able to fool everybody for the most part anyway. He's able to fool people into thinking that he's just a regular guy. Even Jim Hawkins, who was there on the night of the tavern or the inn burning down, it didn't see him exactly, but saw a shadow and was like, oh, I'm looking for an evil cyborg. Even Jim is like, are you the evil cyborg? And Long John Silver is so personable and so goofy and so fun that he's like, it can't be him. It's not him. He's a con man. Like, Long John Silver is a ruthless pirate, a leader of these pirates, and a con man, an effective con man. I'm just a humble cook. That's all he says. And what's dangerous about him is that he does not let his pride get in the way. He doesn't mind like portraying himself as just a humble cook. It's a humble ship's cook. He doesn't mind that, because the ultimate his goal is more about greed than pride. And I think his arm really kind of tells you this. That he'll surrender his arm, he'll surrender his leg if it means achieving a dream. And so, of course, he's going to surrender his pride and step down from the prestigious role of pirate captain to being a humble ship's cook if it means achieving that dream. Very interesting stuff. So it's like Long John Silver is probably one of the most devious and one of the most dangerous villains you can come across. Pride will not get in his way. He's personable. He's very convincing as a harmless nobody. He's a con man who's also very skilled, very dangerous, and very charismatic and ruthless enough to lead a gang of pirates. He's a very formidable character.
Until Jim Bro left the man alone, and we got a very sinister line from him that hinted at us that he's the cyborg, the threat given face. This was, in my opinion, the single most important scene in the whole movie, because to me, the writing department had to make a big decision here. I would wager a bet that a modern take of this scene would be to hide Silver's cybernetic enhancements, or at the very least, try to throw red herrings to throw us off the
Oh yeah, because Jim Hawkins knows he's looking for a cyborg at this point, so they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna make a twist villain, so we're gonna hide the fact that he's a cyborg, and later on we're gonna see that, aha, hello Jim, I'm a cyborg. I've been so all the entire time.
that he is the cyborg. They would keep the scenes where Silver was all jolly and innocent and cut the scenes where he is, by all intents and purposes, revealed to us as the villain. Because for some godforsaken reason, stories nowadays obsess over making the mystery the main driver of tension.
I understand that now. Like I don't want them to give Bug's Life a sequel now, not current Pixar, because then it'll be like, it'd be so cringe. It'd just be so cringe. Like Flick would just be a goofball. There'd be no complexity to Flick anymore. Where at first he was a goofball, but he was a well-meaning, very highly competent goofball. Yeah, his inventions were might have backfired or not have been the greatest or worked properly, but he was the only one doing things. They're all prototypes that we see him use. But in the end, his stuff does end up working. He actually is pretty smart. So I think but today, yeah, if we made a sequel to Bug's Life today, it would be like Flick is like an idiot. The princess is the main character. The other people are just goofballs and everything. The little sister is also the main either the older sister or the younger sister will be the main character. One of those two. All right, that's how it would go. I mean, they might even push Flick as the main character, but the princess would be the one doing all the stuff. Like Flick would just be like, "Oh, let me handle it, princess," and then he'll fail, and then the princess will come along and easily do it. Like Flick will fail at every single conflict, and then princess will figure it out. That's kind of what they would do today. But if they had the competent people back, people who know what they were doing, I could see them doing like a good sequel to A Bug's Life. Let's see your chat. Let's see here. Jeffrey Haskell says the bugs would end up having been the villains all along, and the other creatures were actually oppressed. You mean in Bug's Life? Yeah, the ants are actually the villains all along or something. Pretty funny. Right, they become just as evil.
And then jump scaring us with a sharp payoff of, surprise, I'm the bad guy. I am willing to bet my left nuts that would have been the case for old John Silver here, a generic twist villain. And I am glad that I am fully bald, because the writing department understood that mystery is not the only way you can keep the tension. I love those first few scenes of Silver, how they revealed bits and pieces of how he really is the bad guy of the whole story, and each reveal just put on more and more layers of tension that would have been lost had they gone with the twist villain route. First, when he was revealed to us, it planted that expectation of Jimtron finally figuring out he's the cyborg. Then when Silver supposedly saved his charge from the ruffian crew, then revealing that those are his actual crew of space pirates, it made the situation of the ship more dire because they are surrounded by the bad guys. This concept, the idea that Silver is a mutineer waiting to strike, would have been enough to keep the tension rolling. However, that's not what made this decision special. No, this decision of openly revealing the twist villain allowed this character some breathing room to actually grow and make a connection with not only the audience, but also the main character. And this is what made Silver so special, his connection to Jimbo. I think it's great to forcefully put the protagonist and antagonist in a situation where they have to be together, to be civil with one another. Plus points if only one of them knows the truth of their relationship. That's what happened between Silver and Jimbo, being put together by their captain, where Jimbo is made into a cabin boy under the care of Silver. At first,
cabin boy. Comic Wiz says, due to forced removal of John Lasseter. Yeah, that's the big guy they lost, is John Lasseter. The Pixar, as with the false allegations. Did he get Me Too? Is that what happened? He got Me Too? Man, Me Too has really ruined culture. It really has. The studio lost its magic along with the people who made Pixar what it was. Yeah, Brady Sid Ellis talked about this in his book, White. We're commentating on this stuff. I put this quote in some of my videos, but he talks about how there's no great artists today. And I like, can we really have like a Frank Sinatra again? Because like all these guys had gotten in trouble. Like all these guys would just act out because not most big artists are not well-adjusted human beings down to the pinpoint molecule in their bodies, right? They will make mistakes. They will act out. They will do crazy things. But back then, not everything was recorded and kept track of. Back then, they could do crazy stuff and it'll come out in the newspaper that nobody reads, and then they can go on performing. All right, today it's like they'll say something offensive, and suddenly every venue needs to cancel them, so they can't really say anything or do anything that's too wacky, or else their careers are just over in an instant. And he says Brandon Ellis goes over and says something like, would Frank Sinatra really be able to survive today, or would he just be a robot? His work sanitized. Instead of singing about humanity or the human condition or whatever, he's just sanitized and singing about how great your identity is. Like, would that be the case? Could a great artist, a great writer exist today under these conditions? Because they're not allowed to express themselves. They're not allowed to be themselves, and they're definitely not allowed to make big mistakes anymore or do crazy things like they used to. Like they mess up once and boom, the career is done. Instead of they upset this person and it's fine. But today it's like they had a bad date with a woman and suddenly she's calling rape or whatever, which has happened so many. I mean, I can't these days. You can't even count how many false rape accusations there's been. There's just so many from top on down, right? This false accusation. Like Justin Roiland was taken out by false accusations. The accusations that were tossed at him were not fulfilled. They were not deemed to be credible. They were cast aside. Like they were not real, or there was not enough evidence or whatever. But is he getting his job back? I don't think so. Same thing with Neil Gaiman. All right, he went to court over those accusations. All the stuff that his angry wife and his angry lovers got into. By the way, they had an open relationship, so it wasn't like he's cheating on his wife. But who knows about the details of it all, right? They might have made him up. Who knows? But they went to court and he won. He won. He went to court and the court dismissed all of them. He won his court case. So it's like all these big accusations are taking out all these like major male creators, and just being dismissed. Like, because all it takes is the accusation to make the news, and it's over. So could like a real good artist, like a great artist, exist today? Could they make one today? Like, what great artist has come out in the past decade? Like in the 90s, we had a few of them, right? We had quite a few. Maybe even 2000 might have had a few rising stars that are like considered great. Maybe. Although I can't really think of one from the 2000s. But today, what great artist that was not just manufactured by the industry do we have? What great artist? And after that, are they allowed to be themselves, or must they kind of mingle with the rest of the hive mind over there? They have to sing and talk about or write about how great our identities are. You know, they coddle the audience as opposed to focusing on their great works. Comic wizardism, yeah. Due to the can we have another John Lasseter? Is that possible? Because a lot of times this kind of happens, right? In fact, we saw this twice, chat, twice, not once but twice. Behind the scenes planning of the destruction of great men. One was the cabal that would enter Vic Mignogna, right? We got to see what was happening behind the scenes there, where they were actually planning to cancel another guy. And then the Broly movie came out, and because we know this because they approached Vic Mignogna, the people who would later on go to cancel Vic Mignogna had approached Vic Mignogna to ask him to help them to cancel this other guy. Before that went forward, the Broly movie came out, and Vic Mignogna rose to the top, and so they switched the targeting to Vic Mignogna, which is why things ended up happening the way they went. Which is why it's Vic Mignogna that they got targeted, because he was the one with the fame suddenly, and so they want to take this guy out. So there's cabals. There's like little groups that get together in the background to take down powerful men with false accusations. Same thing happened with in the comic book industry. Remember that? Remember that a long time ago? Bleeding Fool had what's her name? Penny Parker, like this undercover journalist Penny Parker, who was invited, who was actually got an invite to a back rooms Facebook room called Women of Marvel. And in there, she took screenshots and everything. I don't know if you remember that. It's been some years, I think. But she took screenshots and everything of all of these different names, all these different women from the comic book industry who were actively plotting the downfall of prominent male creators. They came out. They didn't do anything about it, but it came out. Screenshots. Gail Simone was in there. I think like Mark Waid was in there, oddly enough. Of course, Mark Waid would get an invite to the Women of Marvel, but it's how it goes. So it's not just like an organic cancellation. It's planned. It's plotted in the back rooms, in these Facebook back rooms and things. So, could a John Lasseter exist today? I don't know. Could another Frank Sinatra exist today? I don't know. The names we have today are like from yesterday. Like Frank Miller, he's not a new guy. He's an old veteran. Even Neil Gaiman, who's like he's in his 60s. Alan Moore, like these guys that we hail today as legitimately good are from another time. They're from before now. They're before the current era. Who's good today? Tom King. I mean, the only guy we got, I think, recently in the comic book era, in the comic industry, is Sean Gordon Murphy, and I'm like, he's all right. Maybe the best one we have might be Scott Snyder. I like reading some of Scott Snyder stuff. He's pretty good. Even his Absolute Batman, which I don't really like very much, but is well constructed. Like I pointed out, like the Absolute Batman is well constructed, well done. It's like if it were cooking, it would be a well-made cake or something. Like it'd be well made. It might not be the flavor of cake I like, but it's well made nonetheless. So, yeah, John Lasseter was ousted by false allegations. I mean, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. But I didn't know he was ousted by. I thought he saw he left because of creative differences. I didn't think it was false allegations. I didn't hear that part. How recent was that revealed of information? It was a long time ago. That came out a long time ago. Just nobody cares. Nobody cares about the truth of the matter. They just care about the accusations themselves. That's how over encompassing they all are. They usually turn out to be false a lot of times, but the damage is already done. Comic Book says Frank Sinatra and his friends in the Rat Pack would tear a lot of today's so-called artists to shreds through talent and merit. The VA Vic, who voiced Edward Elric, Broly, and others, would also hit. That was it. He was hit by B2, but it wasn't organic. It was plotted. They were ready to go after somebody. It just so happened to be Vic Mignogna rose to the top with the Broly movie at the wrong time, and they switched their targets to him. They switched their sights to him. That's what happened. And all this stuff came out, and nobody cares. It didn't make a lick of difference.
This was a hitch in Silver's plan, because Jimbo was snooping around too much, so he made sure to run the boy ragged, toss every red herring to throw him off the cyborg sense so that he wouldn't find out that the whole crew are actually pirates that are after Captain Flint's treasure. And this unavoidably pulled them close, revealing some parts of their character that they weren't supposed to. One scene in particular where this happened was when Jimbo was alone at the deck after the fight with Arachnophobia. Silver asked him if his old man didn't teach him to choose the fights he picks, to which Jimbo responded that his old man went out to buy milk and cigarettes. We were of course aware of this fact, how Jimbo changed after his dad left and how it affected his character. But Silver...
Yeah, growing up, as we talked about many times over, a son growing up without a dad specifically is particularly harsh. It does impact the son. It does quite a bit, because then all he has left is his mother, who will nurture and care for him, but will not discipline him the way a father can. Because a mother does not know how to discipline a man into being a man, or discipline a boy into becoming a man. She just doesn't. I mean, look what women will do. They know how to handle children, but they don't know how to handle a man, right? They don't know how to do that. If they want to disagree if they want to discipline him, they'll go after his masculinity, right? They'll go after his self-worth, his self-esteem. So like, oh, if you're a real man, real men don't do this. The mother will instantly tackle his masculinity, which is not the right way you want to go with a young man. A father will know that you need to respect him, that you need to appeal to his respect, to his self-esteem, his authority. A father will know how to tackle these issues. A father will know that a young man will need responsibility, even if he doesn't want it. A father will know that a young man needs responsibility. He needs to make him get a job, go out for sports, come over here. Let's work together on this project, son, and that sort of thing. Okay. Even when he wants to correct the son, it's like, okay, son, you did wrong. Now let's do this and let's do that. Now I know you meant well, that sort of thing. So a father will know to meet the son on a masculine level. And so the son will be disciplined and know he'll deserve it, will feel good about it. Will still respect the father afterwards. And a good father anyway. Meanwhile, the mother will tear him down at the core and leave him soulless and empty, because she'll tear down his masculinity. She'll tear down his self-respect. It's just how it goes. Like, that's how you treat a child, right? You say you go after a child's like behavior, and just so that their core is changed. But when they become like a man, when they start becoming men as they get older, you need to match them with respect. You need, because that's what men crave. Men crave respect, while women crave attention. It's just how it goes. So when it's a father sitting down with his son, a good father will know to meet him on a level of respect and authority. Like a good friend, like shaking hands. And so that's why it's one of the reasons why you need to have a man initiate the son into manhood. It cannot be the mom. That's as hardworking as the mom may be, as smart as she may be. You need a man to guide a young man into masculinity and manhood. It's just, you need it. So of course, after his father left or disappeared or whatever, Jim is unsurprisingly a delinquent. Because in fact, in the movie, like, what happens? Like, she disciplines him by going after his masculinity, going after his future, going after all this stuff, like this shame. Whereas a father will know not to do that. A father will know how to guide him properly. It's not about think of your future or something like that. That's what women think about. But the father will know it's not think of your future. Think of, this, I'm not treating you like a child. It's authority and respect. And so that's how you kind of hammer out those things. Also, part of rebelliousness, according to Iron John by Robert Bly, rebelliousness comes from not knowing the father. A big chunk of rebelliousness comes from not knowing the father. And not knowing the father means you resent the father. You come to resent him, and you rebel against authority. It's pretty common. If they don't have a father, or they have a neglectful father or a bad father, the son will start rebelling in like a major, not just like natural rebellion, like I'm finding out who I am, but like Jim Hawkins level rebellion, like almost becoming a criminal and delinquent. The kind of just know, and then he's like on first name basis with the cops, that sort of thing. So that's kind of how that happens. It's about rebellion. When they don't know the father, they'll resent the father, which means they'll come to resent authority.
Was never meant to know this, because beneath his,
like, for example, another example, one of my favorite anime of all time, Yu Yu Hakusho, he hates authority, right? Yusuke Urameshi hates authority. Guess what he doesn't have? A father.
one good eye was a glimmer of pity towards the boy.
Comic Wiz says, don't respect the single moms, but at the end of the day, the son or sons need a dad in their lives. And we know what's interesting is that if you look at movies before the 2000s or so, 2000s and before then, it wasn't too uncommon for like a single mom character to know this. So that's why the single mom character will be looking for a dad or a man. So like, and she'll say that, my son needs a man in his life. He'll see he needs a father figure. Now it's considered sexist to say that, but before, the woke era, Even single moms in movies knew this, that a son needs a man to teach him how to be a man. But now it's sexist to say.
And this tiny spark ignited a bond between the two characters. This was shown through a very poignant montage of Silver teaching the boy some tricks, even though he stayed true to his word of giving him a rough time, which was accompanied by the fucking Goo Goo Dolls, the band literally manufactured to create banging music for movies, cementing how much of an underrated gem this movie was. Throughout the montage, we see the two characters growing fond of each other, especially Silver, who looks proud of the boy, seeing how hard he works and how much of a ruffian he also is, which possibly could be a mirror to how he was when he was young. This bond allowed Silver, a character we know to be a ruthless pirate, to show how soft he really is, stated blatantly over here.
Next thing you know, they'll be saying I've gone soft.
It also gave us a glimpse to his motivation on why he is chasing after Flint's treasure. The proof of
Let's see. Hot Bomb says Boys in the Hood was about the significance of a boy growing up with a father versus just with his mother. I haven't seen that one, but I do know that the movie Friday, Ice Cube's character had the advantage of having a dad, and the lessons he got from his dad were what saved him in the end. He's like, you guys are too ready to take out guns. How about use your fists instead? Because you can get beat up, but you can still walk away. It's not definitive. And yeah, he loses. He does fight the main bully and loses at first, but then he fights the bully and wins. I mean, it's kind of a dirty tactic a little bit, I guess. But at the end, he does win against the bully in a fight instead of pulling out the gun that he has. So the father taught the main character courage. He taught him masculinity. He taught him to stand up with man to man with your fists as opposed to just pull out guns. So he had the benefit of having a dad, and it does affect him towards the end of the movie. It does change him towards the end of the movie. And Friday, oddly enough, as weird as it is, has a hero's journey and a character arc and a positive influence from the father. Very interesting the way that even a movie like Friday could have these traits that are missing from today's media.
this want of his wired and bolted onto his very flesh, something that we are made aware of, something that Jimbo shouldn't have known. This moment of vulnerability between the two, the qualities that somehow connected them, the trauma of Jimbo seeing his father leave them, leaving him feeling like he's worthless, then finally meeting someone who can see his greatness, the scars littered over Silver's old body, years of wear and tear because of his quest to find the treasure, the countless atrocities that he has
It's a Jiraiya Lama says, legit cried as a kid when I thought Toguro killed Kuwabara 5 episodes later. I'm like, okay, I forgive. Yeah, just no, you can't kill Kuwabara because Kuwabara is awesome. Like Kuwabara, of course, is one of my favorite characters. I mean, he is top dog. That guy, Kuwabara, is masculine without a shadow of a doubt. That guy was at the moment he's like, I can't run away from combat, but I can't fight you either. Because if I fight you, my friend gets in trouble. Right? It doesn't do with him. Like, he's not going to get in trouble. His friend would, though. So he's like, well, I'm not going to run away either. So just, beat me up and hit me all you want because I'm not running away and not fighting you. And that's the most masculine thing. He preserves his honor while also protecting his friend. That is a really, really rare trait. That's pretty powerful. Like, man, Kuwabara is such a Chad.
committed to achieve it, now finds rest in a boy he can pass on all of his experiences to. All of this we get from the simple exchange between the two, dialogue loaded with heft. This is what made Silver a special villain, not because of the threat he can be nor the destruction he can cause, but because of the ticking time bomb planted in his vat. Jimbo will find out, and that they have to face the fallout. It's Hitchcock's principle, telling the audience that there is a bomb. This kind of tension is what is missing with a lot of twist villains, how they sacrifice the tension of what's going to happen to them for a cheap shock. Silver and Jimbo's relationship felt real. We see how Jimbo gets chastised as a delinquent for his free-spirited behavior. The fact that Silver enjoys and even encourages this gives us that real warm and cozy feeling of kinship. And that great feeling just further compounds in our mind because we know this has to end. And when it did, when Jimbo overheard the mutineers and especially Silver dropping the act and revealing their true intentions, it was the explosion we were all waiting for. The scene where Silver came down, his mechanical arm turning into a blade as he confronts Jimbo, who he knew overheard everything. It reminds us that even though this man has been kind to him, he still is that pirate that indiscriminately burned down the inn, that has sacrificed far too much for his goals. This pseudo-heel turn for Silver also showed us how he could have worked as a pure evil bastard.
Yeah, if you showed that now, you'd be called sexist. If you kind of admit today that, or have a character today where it's like, where even the single mom is like, oh, he needs a male figure in his life. That'd be seen as sexist because today it's like, oh, the woman could do everything and whatever. You don't need no man. That's like the main storyline today, where a woman should not need a man. A woman could do anything that anything needs doing. A woman can do it. It's not true, though. It's not true. She can't. A woman cannot make a man. It's not possible. Not really. You need a father to guide a man into manhood.
Too, how ruthless and cunning he is, how much of a real fucking menace he could be, and I love it. From the way he talks to the way he executes, it's everything that makes a Disney villain great.
Well, that part was cool. It's like another cannon attachment in his leg. Part was awesome.
But the best thing about Silver finally dropping the act and being the terrible pirate he is the fact that his fondness for Jimbo was not an act at all. The shot of him letting Jim escape, him looking back when he tried to compromise with him, the pained expression and even moments of pride whenever Jimbo opposes him, was what made his character so unique to the Disney formula, the transparent dilemma he was having. And it all made sense why he would be having such a dilemma, because from the start, even when we know he was the main villain, there is that sense of real kindness to him. From the moment he said that he rescued Morph, we know that there is a good soul there. And every moment he interacted with Jimbo felt genuine, because one, he said so himself, and two, from scenes like this where he just straight up protects the boy. However, from his words and from what we know of his crew, he couldn't let them know that he had a soft spot for Jimbo, especially when the Zurg over here made it pretty clear they would mutiny if he ever did go soft. It was great watching the fallout between the two, the pain of betrayal Jimbo felt and the pain of being too deep into his own greed Silver was. And somewhere, in the heat of diabolicalness and malice, Silver tried to find a middle ground. But Jimbo has made his stand to oppose him, and this both made Silver proud and frustrated. And it was such a treat to have this explored, to see them finally staying their ground and to execute their goals. And when they both reached their prize, Captain Flint's treasure, tragedy struck. The risk of greed was paid.
By the way, chat, we're a little over halfway to go. We still have we're just a little over halfway to Pillarman. Doing pretty well. Thank you very much, everyone.
Planet was about to explode, and Silver realized that no one but him truly knew the price. And he confronted Jimbo about this, seemingly making up his mind that the years spent looking for this treasure was what he truly wanted. But we all knew this was, again, just an act. For when Jimbo was flung out of the ship and was hanging on to the cliff, Silver tried to rescue him. But his greed literally was holding him back. Stuck between the prize for his years-long quest and the boy who he treasures, this amazing shot was born. The perfect thumbnail, the perfect representation of who Silver is. It was a great culmination of their relationship. Two men who were supposed to be opposite of one another found themselves running hand in hand away from their shared goal. It was heartwarming seeing them finally back on the same side. Silver giving up the only thing he wanted for Jimbo. It could make a grown man cry. However, this doesn't absolve all of Silver's sin, of course. The audience may have forgiven him, But there are still consequences waiting for him in universe, consequences that he is going to escape from. And that scene where Jimbo and Silver talked for the last time, how Silver is proud of the boy and how they are now at two opposing paths once again, it was bittersweet. I can't get over it. How they crammed as many things in there for us to cry over. How Silver entrusted Jimbo to morph. How Jimbo untying the space boat to set Silver free mirrors his unwillingness to see his father go. It was filled with so many great moments. Moments that we wouldn't have, or at the very least wouldn't feel as impactful.
See, Jiraiya Lama says the OG story is it's only after Jim takes his ship he rethinks his plans. Yeah, it's a little bit different. Now, we kind of, Long John Silver has kind of been changed a little bit over the years, where he's a little bit more sympathetic. It tends to be what happens. We kind of like him this way, though. We kind of like him a little bit more this way. But I think in the original, he's more of a scoundrel. He's more of a blatant villain. This is Moses. How do you feel about the crew actually finding the treasure in Treasure Planet versus finding only one gold coin in Treasure Island? It's very interesting because it's like, okay, the treasures is gone is one thing, where it's like, okay, we did all this, we find one coin at the end of all this hardship and journey, and it does have the whole thing of like, it's the journey, it's the journey was the friends we made along the way, but so we watched the Page Master yesterday, right? And the video was about how we need stories that are about encouraging young men to go off an adventure instead of like staying indoors and playing it safe, right? Just like, oh, I gotta go outside and wear my face diaper, and I gotta wear armor, I gotta wear a helmet, I gotta do all this stuff. Where it's just like, just take a leap, be adventurous sometimes, just take a leap of faith, get out there, have some fun, explore a little bit. The idea was we need more stories that are pushing young men to do things, actively do things, instead of being so afraid of the outside world that you just curl up and try to protect yourself from it. Too afraid to do anything at all. So I think the power of Treasure Island is that specifically because every single time I see people bring up, boys bring up, in movies or whatever, like Neverending Story, Sebastian or Bastion brings it up. It's not really about the treasure. It's about finding the treasure, right? And that's what One Piece is, right? One Piece has gone on for like 80 years and 10 trillion episodes. They never find the One Piece because it's about that sense of adventure. Let's go off and get that goal done. It's not about the friends we made along the way. It's about getting up, getting out there, and chasing a dream. And Treasure Island does that. They say that specifically. When he's talking about his lost limbs, like, you give up a few things, chasing a dream, but it is about getting up there and going off to chase that dream. So in the end, Treasure Island and Treasure Planet, whatever it might be, is not really about getting a treasure. It's about leaving your comfort zone and going off into an adventure. Like even Muppet Treasure Island, it's about Jim Hawkins, who's just like a regular guy. He's just working in an inn. I don't even think it's his mother. It's like he works for this lady who owns the inn, and he dreams of adventure and finding this map. Getting a hold of this map is gets him to go off and go, you know what? Let's go. Let's do this. Let's go off an adventure. Let's see if we find this treasure and get our new lives together. Right? Where it's like Treasure Planet, they do find the treasure and they lose it, but they get enough to get them by. That was it. I get a little handful of treasure, a little handful of gold and jewels, and he's able to use that to rebuild the inn and kind of make themselves a little bit better off. Because at the end, that's the biggest victory you can really hope for. Or at least it's adequate. Like, oh, they got a little bit of a reward. But really, even Treasure Planet carries the lesson of, it's about that sense of adventure. It's about taking that step, stop putting off the tomorrow, and going off to that adventure. Right? It's a very big, probably the essence of the story, and because that's what everyone talks about. It's not about the treasure itself. People kind of are intrigued by the adventure aspect of Treasure Island. The Muppet Treasure Island, Treasure Planet, whatever it is, it's about the adventure, not really the end goal. And yeah, well, it's like Page Master. The importance and focus is having a young man get up and going out to adventure. It's important. It's an important aspect. So at the end, whether they get the gold or not, is I don't really mind if they don't get the gold. They get like a sign that it was there. So it wasn't really a lie. It wasn't all for nothing. It was there. It's just gone now. And with Flint, from with the treasure planet's Flint, the treasure was there, but they lost it. The the booby trap kind of melts it all and destroys it all. So they just kind of end up with a little bit of money just to rebuild their lives and everything. But the real treasure they made was not just the friends they made along the way. It was Jim Hawkins' confidence, because he grew as a person on that journey. That's another part of it. It's not just about the essence of adventure. It's also about growing as a person, which is why people want young men to go off on adventure, because it's not just about having fun. It's about growing as a person. It's about encountering obstacles. It's about getting over these things, growing, learning things about yourself, attaining skills, acquiring techniques, whatever it might be. And that's why people are invested. You at least used to be invested in getting young and pushing young men out that door, so they can become competent men. And with Treasure Island, yeah, just if you see Treasure Planet anyway, since we're talking about that, look what Jim Hawkins does. Yeah, he's doing scut work. He's a cabin boy, but he's learning discipline. He's learning skills. He's learning how to tie knots and how a ship works. He's gaining valuable knowledge, and that's important. That's part of adventure, is gaining knowledge, gaining skills, gaining experience, and that's invaluable. And that's what a young man learns when he goes off on these adventures. So yeah, it's the treasure at the end of these stories is not necessarily important. It's about following your dream, having the motivation to follow your dream, get out there, adventure, learn things, make mistakes, encounter obstacles, jump into conflict, and to not be afraid of it. And then at the end, maybe you get your treasure, maybe you don't. But if you don't, you've gained knowledge, you've gained connections, you've gained skills, and you're a better person than you were.
If Silver wasn't a uniquely executed villain, a character that I so dearly miss. God, I feel like I yapped about everything and nothing at the same time. So yeah.
There we go, chat. Interesting. All right, let's go to the next one. Feminism is not heroism. But Long John Silver is a very interesting character. He remains so to this day, and for those reasons. And say, TK Ultra says, "Good morning, nerds and lit." Hello to you, TK Ultra. Welcome. Eggs says, "The real treasure are the friends you made along the way." Exactly. I mean, the reason why that phrasing is so cringe, though, is because it's not really about the friends. It should be more about your growth as a character, but they didn't have that in the sequel trilogy. They didn't. It's about the sequel trilogy is all about how Ray is awesome, which is unfortunate. Alex Hadley's Five says they kept wanting to bring Treasure Planet to Kingdom Hearts, but they kept canceling. The unfinished models are still in 3D games. Wow, that would be pretty cool. I mean, having like a Treasure Planet game to begin with would be pretty awesome, I have to say, because as much as I don't want a sequel today of such a great movie, I do want more about the world. The world they made was very interesting, I think. Like, the world they made would be really cool to explore, even if they bring in another story. I want to see more of that world. I think it'd be pretty cool, pretty interesting. All right, chat. Well, let's see here. Update this real quick and move on to the next video. We'll check it out, chat. We'll check it out. It's called Feminism is Not Heroism. So we're going to see what they say about this one. And see, Shady Durag says, women are adapted to thrive in social environments where the goal is working together in unity. This is very true. Men are adapted to thrive in environments that prioritize working to get the job done. It's kind of why you see like all these events where men kind of just arrive and they'll just start working together like instantly. It's because they thrive on respect. So they're kind of like, okay, well, we respect each other instantly until shown otherwise. And so you see all these experiments with men and they might not know each other's name, but they will work with each other almost instantly. Where women will kind of have a conflict there. But yeah, women are more about the social aspects. It's why I kind of boil it down to women like social conflict, where men like physical conflict. Like social conflict, well, usually so stories with social conflict, like, okay, well, here is these two people who want to, get together. These a guy and a girl, they fell in love, but oh my goodness, here comes a bunch of crap that's going to get in their way. This is Twilight. This is Romeo and Juliet. This is 50 Shades of Grey. The power dynamic. The feminists say they hate the power dynamic where the man has more power than the woman, but regular women prefer that. That's kind of what they like. They like the whole man. The man has a lot more power than they do. And you can see that in what women tend to like, which is, just the Twilight was a big phenomenon, which is why it's a good example to use. But yeah, it's like, what's her name? Bella. She has no power. Edward Cullen, on the other hand, has tons of power and knowledge. 50 Shades of Grey, which is a spin-off, like a spiritual spin-off of Twilight, is the power dynamic is all in Grey's corner. He's the billionaire, he's the dom or whatever. She has some power over him too, but the power dynamic in terms of who has more of it, regardless of what that is Grey. Like, he has way more power than she does, and Anastasia Steele. So yeah, they like the power dynamic being way off. But overall, it boils down to social conflict. Women really like social conflict, and men like physical conflict, which is why male-centric stories end battle or some sort of competition or something like that, like physical battle. But anyway, chat, let's check this out. Let's get down to business. Feminism is not heroism. Let's see.
Failure of the Supergirl movie, the second film in what was supposed to be James Gunn's epic cinematic universe, has thrown one thing into sharp relief. Female superheroes are failing. The argument can be made that all superhero movies are failing, and there is some truth to that. However, with the pre-sales for Spider-Man Brand New Day through the roof, that's still something of a controversial opinion. The fact of the matter is that superhero movies like Spider-Man and Batman will likely always make money. They seem to be the two premier heroes that can exist and be popular outside of any of the cinematic universes that we have seen. And for the sake of the genre, that's probably a good thing. Those two heroes appeal the most to the general audience, and it's not because they are men or because there is an agenda that they're trying to push. It's because they are entertaining and embody the best of humanity despite its difficult.
I kind of like the Batman 2022 with what's his name, Matthew Reeves, like the guy that played Edward Cullen. It seems like it's one of those overly dark Batman movies. It's not my favorite movie, but because it takes itself way too seriously, I think. And not in the way Nolan does, but like way too seriously on a little different level of pretentiousness. However, its character arc for Batman is very interesting because it goes from a Batman who's angry and damaged and just fully embracing the dark vigilante side of his character, right? And then towards the end, he starts gravitating towards becoming human again. Where in the beginning he's just Batman. Like that's his main thing. Is like, I'm here to be Batman. I don't care about being Bruce Wayne. That's not important. My family legacy will be me and my work as Batman. But then towards the end, he kind of is it Robert Pattinson? Yeah, Robert Pattinson. Oh, wait, it wasn't Matthew Reeves, but yeah, Robert Pattinson. Right, the Robert Pattinson. He plays his character arc as Batman goes from him just fully embracing Batman, kind of letting his identity as Bruce Wayne wither to dust, letting his legacy die, letting his family legacy die, letting his business turn to nothing, because all that matters is Batman. And then towards the end, he realizes that the humanity cannot be left behind. He needs to embrace Bruce Wayne as well. He needs to embrace that persona. So there's two things that come into play in Batman, and I'm making a video on this too. I'm going to come out with I'm going to come out with a series of Batman videos soon, chat. I'm almost done. I'm on the last script, and then I'll start recording. But there's two concepts by Carl Jung. And Carl Jung is the guy that did all the work the psychological work that kind of went on to become baselines for the hero's journey. But there's two concepts here that come into play when it comes to Batman, and that is the persona and the shadow. Batman is both. So what makes him a hero? As I said before, the shadow is all your like intrusive thoughts, all the dark parts of your character usually that you kind of want to deny that are part of you. But the thing is, what you're supposed to do is embrace it. You're not supposed to get rid of the shadow. You have to embrace the shadow because it is part of you. Okay, and that's what Batman does. Now, what's interesting about the Batman movie specifically is that in the beginning he just embraces the shadow. Like, he fully embraces the shadow but lets the persona die. And the persona is not really you either. It's the public face you put on to fit into society. Kind of like a Patrick Bateman going, I want to fit in. But what the real you is somewhere in the middle. But you have to have both, because your public persona comes from you as well. It's not a lie. It is like a curated version of you, but it's still you. And so you put together both. The real you is somewhere between the persona and the shadow. That is the true Bruce Wayne as well. The true Bruce Wayne is not the billionaire playboy. It's part of him, but it's not him exactly. And the billionaire and Bruce Wayne is not exactly Batman either. He's kind of in the middle. Okay. But what makes him a hero is that he's able to embrace both eventually. Now, in the 2022 Batman movie, the beginning of it is him fully embracing the shadow and liking it, which makes him very dark, almost villainous. However, towards the end, his growth leads him towards embracing himself in the entirety. So it's not. He learns that it's not just about fighting bad guys or getting revenge. It's about leading people home, saving people, being the guiding light Gotham needs. It's about all of that. So at the end, he knows to fully embrace both Batman and his role as Bruce Wayne, which is the moment he becomes a true hero. And one of the moments that really sticks in my mind from this movie is not all the darkness and the battles and the edginess. It's that moment where Batman, on the brink of death to the point where he has to inject himself with adrenaline just to keep going, drops from the ceiling into the water below and, breaks open a light and then leads everyone to safety. That's like this becoming the guiding light of Gotham. It's an image that has stuck in my mind from this movie. And it's like in that moment is a completion of his personal character arc. They made it very clear that this is where he was going. His main issue was not that what he was doing was wrong. The main issue was that he was doing it in the wrong way. That he was not fully embracing who he is as a person. He was leaning too much into his vengeance, into his anger, into all the bad things that he's been repressing all those years. That he really wants vengeance. He really wants to be violent. He really wants to lash out at evil in Gotham City. And towards the end, he learns to control that monster, right? That's kind of where it goes. It's about him being the monster at the beginning, and then eventually learning to control that monster and temper it with the side of him that's Bruce Wayne. Anyway.
Difficulties and darknesses. The same cannot be said for the more recent additions to both Marvel and DC's cinematic universes, and it's a problem that has lasted for at least the last half decade. Powerful female characters have been introduced time and time again throughout the superhero genre, and very few of them have been worth remembering with anything.
Yeah, because they keep saying, "Oh, you're just sexist or misogynist. You don't like these main characters, these female characters." But we used to have a lot of good female characters before the wokies came in. They're not bad. We don't dislike them because they're female characters. We dislike them because they're terrible. They're just awful. At best, they might be bland like Rey. At worst, they might be just uppity, hostile bitches like Captain Marvel or something.
Other than memes, or disgust, or disdain. And though Supergirl is just the most recent addition in this long list of feminist heroes, she is probably the final form of this type of feminism that has just been constantly evolving in the last 10 years. But I've begun noticing a pattern when it comes to these feminist superheroes, and that is that they are slowly basing the definition of their heroism on their status as a woman and what that means for them before they will consider what it means to be a hero for the world. Feminism becomes their ultimate superpower, beyond what they can do for the world and beyond even what they value. The ultimate form of heroism to all these so-called heroes is embracing their status as a woman and what that means to them, whether it is subtle or overt.
Yeah, you could make a hold on. You could make a Dr. Manhattan, but you actually have to make the viewer, reader / care about them. And yeah, if you read Watchmen, they spend a lot of time building up who Dr. Manhattan is, who he was. But you know what didn't instantly get us connected to the character? His power. Right? His power actually distances us from him. And it's even made blatant and clear within the Watchmen storyline, that the more powerful he became, the more detached from humanity he became. And of course, from our perspective, the higher he is, or further away from us he is the more powerful he is. So in order to get us to connect with him and to see him as a character, to see who he is, we have to see who he is. And so at first he's introduced as the most powerful guy in the world or whatever. And he's just so we can't really connect with the guy very much. He can see time, he can see the future. He's like endlessly powerful. He's immortal. Like, what is there to connect with this guy? But in the end, we see like he used to be just a regular guy, and we just see his conflicts and what he is, and he actually is kind of powerless. He is actually cursed. He is not a master of anything. He's a puppet. You can see the strings. That's kind of how he describes himself. So power does not necessarily make a character more likable. In fact, power distances us from the character. And you have to work a little harder with a more powerful character to make him more relatable, to let us connect with him more. This is not necessarily relatable, but to see them, to understand them. Power does not let us understand them. The backstory does. Their journey does. And so we might like a character who happens to be powerful, but we won't like a character just because they're powerful. We need more than that.
Simply a part of the messaging for the movie or working its way into the marketing. I know I shouldn't be surprised given that this notion comes from Hollywood, but the idea that you are heroic simply because you are a woman and look at things from the perspective of a woman is an astonishing notion. And yet this ideal has been making the rounds in superhero movies, action flicks, science fiction, fantasy, and contemporary films. And though there has been pushback, though audiences have been making their voices heard with their dollars and their social media accounts and their scorn, feminism continues to permeate the atmosphere of the greatest IPs, the mindsets of the biggest directors, and the general groundwater of the Hollywood climate for several reasons. None of these reasons are good, obviously, but the exploration of them is important because it can lead to better understanding and the continuation of pushback against this subtle but
Dr. Manhattan at least needs to wear a Speedo. Yeah, they put a lot of work on that glowing blue dick in the movie. A lot of work.
Insidious mindset. The first reason that feminism is not heroism is because it's lazy. As I mentioned earlier, most of Hollywood seems to think that all that is necessary to be a hero is to be a woman and think like a woman would and be concerned with issues surrounding themselves. If they're feeling generous, they may also extend that concern to other women, but most of the time it's all about how they feel about things, about how their status or reputation.
All right, this is a little bit from Ironheart, and because Ironheart is both black and a woman, they glaze that show so hard. But man, it was so bad. It was so. Riri Williams is bad in the comics. All right, I've read I read her first comics. She's bad in the comics, but this show made her so much worse to the point where I was like, man, at least Riri Williams in the comics did this. At least she wanted to be a hero in the comics. Here, she's just blatantly a villain. She just doesn't care about anything. She wants to make the suit because she wants to make the suit because she wants to sell it for money. In the comics, she at least wants to make the suit to help people and save people's lives. So at least in the comics, she still kind of wants to be a hero. Here, she's just kind of like she's greedy. She's just self-centered and greedy, and we're supposed to like sympathize with her after she cheats. Like she's so intelligent and everything that she starts doing people's homework for them. which is like the go-to, I guess, for modern day Hollywood writers to convince people that, oh, this character's smart, right? And in school, because they did the same thing with Netflix, the Netflix Death Note movie, where how do we note that Light Turner is smart? Oh, we have him do other people's homework and sell it. And did they have like one nerd in Hollywood who did that? It's like, okay, well, we'll have every nerd do that. That's how we denote them as intelligent. But yeah, they have Riri Williams the same thing. How do we know she's intelligent? Because she does everyone's homework for them for money. Okay, I guess that means she's intelligent, like super intelligent. Yeah, so this Ironheart, this Riri Williams in the show is just way worse. It's so much worse than in the comics. And the comics, she's just a Mary Sue. At least in the comics, she's kind of a villain, like in attitude, but at least she wants to save the world, and at least she's trying to be a hero. Right? It's not about greed. Here, it's just about greed. I just want to sell the suit that I'm making for money. So it put me in a strange predicament that I had to go ahead and defend Riri Williams in the comic book, because this one is just so much worse.
Women, but most of the time it's all about.
And because she's a minority and a woman, I mean, they had to glaze it so hardcore. I mean, they had to get like Robert Downey Jr. to go, "You're the greatest person ever. It's going to be great. I give you my blessing to be the new Iron Man." I was like, they had so hard to glaze this show. But thing is, even they knew it sucked, right? Even they knew it sucked, because apparently it was done and they just kind of shelved it for a while. And they released it for, I guess, for money reasons. It's Alex Haley says, "Me to LD, she is demanding you be racist to." Yeah, in the comic books, she wants the teacher to be racist to her. It's like that's why she wants to be. That's why she wants to be Tony Stark or Tony Stark-esque, because one day during school, the teacher's like saying that they can do anything, and she's like, "Tell me I can't do something," and you're like, "Oh, why?" Just tell me I can't do something, so I can go ahead and defy you and do it. It can't even be a factor of there's a mean teacher that just says, "Oh, you can't do X, Y, Z." Like Riri Williams in the comic book just demanded the teacher give her some controversy, just demanded the teacher give her some sort of bigotry so that she can play off of it. And he's like, "Okay, you can't be Tony Stark." And of course, she goes off to become Tony Stark, and it goes off to be Iron Man. But at least when she's in the comic book, at least when she's introduced in the first issue, she wants to be a hero. That's what she's working towards, to be a better hero, to help defend people. It's cringe that she's a Mary Sue, definitely, and boring and just awful, but at least she has good intentions.
About how they feel about things, about how their status or reputation as women is most affected by other factors. They'll also say and do things that have nothing to do with the wider definition of heroism, and demand that certain aspects of heroism fit them, rather than changing to fulfill those aspects.
I need you to fix this suit.
The suit is
Here it is, the famous line. It'll fit. It'll be perfect when it fits a woman.
literal perfection.
It will be when it fits a woman.
Ah! It's so cringe.
It would have been bad enough for Kate.
It's almost as bad as the line that also happens in the show, which is like maybe I'm not Batman, where you're like, oh, well, maybe is she having some self-reflection? And then she goes, maybe I'm better. Like, oh, there it is. There it is.
Kane to say that the suit would only be perfect when it fit her, but by mentioning that the suit is only worth something when it fits a woman, she is essentially stating that being a woman is the only thing required to be a hero, because women are somehow just naturally good. This is of course ridiculous, because her own sister ended up being the villain of that show, but it's also an incredibly lazy way to define heroism. Saying that all that is necessary to be a hero is to be a woman removes the hard work that it takes to actually be a hero. Whether that's family challenges that have to be overcome, the death of a loved one.
Speaking of She-Hulk, there's like some weird bot effort now by Disney to bring it back, because there's a lot of people on Twitter now going, "Can we admit this was a good show, actually?" And they're getting like bajillions and trillions of likes and retweets. I don't know what's going on over there, but like the bot farms are working hard to bring the show back for some reason.
The death of a loved one, and moving on from that, and the hard work that it takes mentally to do. or more commonly, the physical aspects of becoming a hero, the training, the consistency, the concept of getting knocked down and getting back up again to fight another day. These are concepts that heroes like Batman and Spider-Man are intimately familiar with, and as a result, they are some of the most popular heroes ever and will continue to be. They have never been lazy, they have never coasted on their status as men, they are relentless in both the pursuit of perfection and the pursuit of service to others. The very popular quotable phrase, "with great power comes great responsibility," is essentially a phrase detailing how hard it can be to be a hero and the work that needs to be put in order to remain that way. But that isn't discussed when it comes to these new female heroes, because the hard work of apparently being a woman trumps the petty concerns of breaking your back and needing to retrain in order to become fighting fit again, or losing your entire world because of the sacrifice required to be a hero. Being a woman and being catcalled is worse than losing the last of your family or your entire reality.
Yeah, that was really funny in She-Hulk, where it's like, she's yelling at Bruce Banner, who canonically in that universe has been driven to suicide, loneliness, just being an outcast for most of his life because he's the Hulk. And she's like, I get catcalled. But it's supposed to be like way worse than all of those experiences. Okay. Yeah. Junebug says the Almighty Lolly did a video on She-Hulk, went into why it was just bad, and he's a big comic book She-Hulk fan. Now, a lot of people like She-Hulk, but did not like the show, because in the comic book She-Hulk is likable. In the show, she's just pretentious and awful.
It is the laziest form of storytelling imaginable. The kind that says, not only am I perfect just the way that I am, but I am excellent because I am a woman. No male hero would ever be able to get away with saying things like that. In fact, James Gunn's most...
Yeah, it's really funny because it's just funny because they do the same thing with directors too. Like, oh, the first female director to do XYZ. I think with Supergirl, they said, oh, it's the first Asian female director to direct a superhero movie. I was like, what? Imagine if they did that with men. Like, the first man to do this and first man to do that. No one cares, right? And they often get the reason why, the excuse why, as to why they kind of give stories to women, just hand them great characters to women who have no credits, is because, oh, we need a woman to tell the story, right? Imagine if they did that. Like, why did you get James Gunn to direct Superman? Because he's a man, and we need a man to direct this movie. It's like, okay, I don't think that's enough, though. I don't think it's enough of a reason. It's like, okay, yeah, we know he's a man. Megalothon, this is a funny spread, says, as a member of the latest CW Batwoman fan community, EFAP movies, I miss Ruby Rose. Yeah, Ruby Rose was really good in that role because it was funny. She really fit the role, I guess. Let's see, she plays a lesbian really well. Shay Durag says Shield teaches that with great power you could just go back to doing exactly what you were before with more power, so it's easier now. And with green skin and everything, so she becomes more like marketable and stuff. I guess she just like went right back to being a lawyer, as far as I remember. And says, Shoki, yeah, with great, because whatever is easier. Yeah, so it's fine. It's fine. Don't be a hero. That's being a hero is dumb.
Recent Superman film featured a speech from the titular character explaining to Lex that he still worked just like a human would and wasn't perfect, but growing just like a normal human is. If a male superhero can admit that, why can't the females? Why does feminism negate the necessity of hard work or perseverance? When in all actuality, being a woman has absolutely...
Like how none of the female superheroes can smile either. Despite even Batman was able to retain his gravitas when smiling. I mean, I guess it's a different Batman, but Superman can smile too. Superman smiles quite a bit. If you go on, in fact, he helped inspire All Might in anime, My Hero Academia, whose whole thing is smiling. And he's like, well, I smile because not because I'm unafraid, but because it inspires people to be unafraid around me. Behind this smile, though, I am terrified. And that was his whole thing. He smiles to make other people feel better, not necessarily himself. Well, because when a superhero smiles, people start to feel better. Their fear starts to go away. There's actually a moment like this in The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller, where Jim Gordon is talking to Ellen Yen, or something like that. The new person coming in to the stepping into the commissioner job, and he's like talking about the president during World War II, and the president, coming on the radio and talking. Well, first of all, he's talking about Pearl Harbor, and he's talking about how it was they like to tell stories about how they leapt to their feet and wanted to go fight the Japanese, but really the reality of the situation was everyone was terrified. Everyone, like he himself, Jim Gordon, was admitting that he wanted to hide under his bed, like everything was so scary. And then he talks about how the president came on the radio, and the president started speaking with such confidence that it just alleviated all their fears, and turned that. He said specifically, turn their fear into a strong fighting spirit. It's good stuff. So it's kind of how superheroes affect people too, like their smile, their confidence, their gravitas, their indestructibility, their strong moral ethical codes. It all helps good people to stop being afraid. And that's we see this a lot, by the way, in Batman stories, a lot, where people kind of like see Batman's example and they don't necessarily have to become vigilantes, but they stop being so afraid. And that's one of the truest powers of Batman in Gotham City. JD Rex says, I hate Superman's speech in the new movie. It's telling rather than showing. Even the whole it's punk rock. I like the sentiment of it. But I want there to be like I want moral Superman back. I want good guy Superman to make a return. Imagine if Spider-Man yelled at the supervillain, "I'm relatable, street hero." You can't have your characters just tell you how they feel. That makes you feel angry. Exactly.
Nothing to do with being a hero at all. And while Hollywood tries to create an environment that is as inclusive to all people groups as possible, in reality, their feminist projects, hero and otherwise, are extremely exclusive in nature. Wanda Maximoff was my favorite character in the MCU before.
Okay. That the one that tells about how he's human. I forgot all about that one. That speech was just so empty. I just forgot about that one. But yeah, now that you bring it up, I do remember that. But yeah, that was stupid. That was a meaningless speech. The punk rock, the good being the new punk rock. I like that. Maybe not the speech, but that line. I like that line.
They utterly ruined her in her own show and demonstrated that her brand of heroism is anything but that. There is an exclusivity to the feminism of these women heroes that is only concerned with how they think and the things that directly impact them. They are obsessed with their own happiness and well-being. They love others, but only in a way that will contribute to their own joy, and they are fiercely vengeful when anyone attempts to take that happiness from them, no matter if it was obtained immorally or not. Their feminism excludes the general masses from the paradigm of heroism because their version of heroism is no longer about acts of service, but about making themselves happy or being.
Yeah, does it make me happy? If it doesn't, I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah, it's not about being happy. It's about doing the right thing. And superheroes, with that power they have like a little bit more obligation than the regular person to do the right thing. That's kind of where that whole, with great power comes great responsibility. Because Peter Parker was that storyline of like, I get powers, and because the world was mean to me, the world ignored me, I'm going to ignore the world. And so he lets a criminal go by without stopping him because it's your job. Why should I care? And that criminal goes off to go kill his Uncle Ben. So he learns that day that with great power, if you have power to stop evil, you're kind of a little bit more obligated to use it to stop evil when you can than the regular person. You have power. Use it wisely. Use it well. Use it for good. The Junebug may cry says, I prefer the new Superman, but man, it wasn't a film about hope. Both Man of Steel and New Superman wasn't about hope, but about being alone or being a foreigner. Unfortunately, it's kind of a big topic today. One thing I did find cringe about the Odyssey in the end is like, it's all about being kind to strangers. It was. I was like, wait a minute. It was just a line they say at the end. It's like some off dialogue. It's about being kind to strangers. Like, what? But you were kind to strangers. Look what happened. Nothing good came from being kind to strangers. Nothing good in that movie came from being kind to anybody. The feminist Cersei section was about how she was turning strangers into animals. And apparently that was okay. And apparently that was fine. Like, because they were pigs, even though they didn't do anything to her, he's assumed they were evil. So of course, it was fine, I guess. And then the suitors were staying at Odysseus's place for like what 10 to 20 years. So what then? I mean, I guess at least 10 years ever since they people left Troy. So they were staying at the wife's place for like 10 years, eating his food, drinking his wine. And then at the end, he had to kill them all because they're plotting against him. So in what way in any part of the movie was there a moment of be kind to strangers? They actually ended up being a good idea. I can't think of one.
Most admired. In fact, there is a fundamental disconnect between heroism being a good thing and a bad thing in their eyes. The most recent Marvel shows of the last few years have gone out of their way for their female characters to promote either their own interests above anything and everything else, or else a sort of anti-heroism that is, for some reason, lauded by the people who are fighting against them. Because they are female, their brand of heroism excludes them from consequences, just as it excludes them from the people that are supposed to be the recipients of their service.
Yeah, that wasn't the moral of the story in the regular story. However, in Nolan's Odyssey, apparently it was. Like, he just who was it? Matt Damon just comes out and says, "Oh, it's all about being kind to strangers." I was like, what? It's just a line that's delivered so quickly you barely have time to process it. But like, wait a minute, what do you mean? It's about I said something like civilization can't succeed unless we're kind of strangers. Like, what? That was the opposite of what we saw in the movie. Since when? It's in fact, I say the opposite. Yeah, it was the opposite. Like every single, like they try to, like every single time we see, be kind to strangers thing, it either didn't work out or it worked against them. There was no like lesson of we need to be kind to strangers in there. Like if it was about like someone, it was about, I don't know, a Beauty and the Beast movie where he turns away the enchantress and then gets cursed. That's even then it's like not really. You need to be kind of strangers for good reasons. Like be kind of strangers or they'll kill you. Even then it's like, okay, well, this old hag is at the door on a stormy night, and the only person at home is what, a 10-year-old kid. Like why would a 10-year-old kid give you permission to enter his castle? That's kind of scary. And like for rejecting you cursed him. Doesn't seem very nice. Shay Durek says the Ray Less Dragon effect constantly show that trusting strangers backfires, but the lesson of the movie is to ignore that, do it anyway, because reasons. Because hypothetically, I guess it would help some hypothetical good person. Yeah. It's like I was like, man, I enjoyed the Odyssey. I enjoyed Nolan's Odyssey for the most part. It's like 6 out of 10. I would say it's probably a solid 6 out of 10. I'd say that would be my go-to rating for that movie, like 6 out of 10, a little bit above average, and only because of all the wokeness in there, like all the feminism stuff in there. Like it really kind of was a detriment to the whole movie, and part of that was like suddenly it's about we got to be kind of strangers. Oh yeah. I guess you had to tell me that because I would not get that from the movie. It seems like, wow, and having strangers in your house sucks. That's what the movie really showed me. Let's see. Dry Lama says, in the Odyssey, the gods let him go home in Nolan's Odyssey. Matt Damon should have apologized for the ending for ending the Bronze Age. Yeah, it's like he should also have apologized for being male. That was part of it too, like the Cersei aspect. He should be like, I'm so sorry for being male, Cersei. I'm so sorry. Eric Gould reminded me of the Bird Box when where the bigoted homeowner ends up being right about letting strangers in. Yeah. And see, anyway.
We are supposed to look up to these heroes, not as rulers, which is strangely what these new feminist heroes think themselves as, but as a light in dark times. The audience is not supposed to feel so far away from them that they are some sort of dictator and not be able to rely upon them for help in a time of crisis. But these exclusionary tactics are deliberate, indicated in the way Captain Marvel spends years away from Earth. Scarlet Witch erected a barrier between herself and her idyllic living space and the rest of the world. And people like She-Hulk score heroes and demand changes to the narrative to fit her ideal life and no one else's. The audience is not supposed to feel excluded from these heroes, and yet they do. Because
It reminds me of that game Dragon Age Veilguard, where people played through it, and even when you want to be mean, you can't be mean. Like the meanest you can go is mild disagreement before you go, oh, it's not your fault or whatever. That's as harsh as you can get. Meanwhile, in the previous Dragon Age games, you can just outright just kill some of your cast members. It's really funny. It's really funny. I think what's his name? The guy who made Dragon Age said he hated Veilguard. That's how terrible it was. Not as rulers, J. Durek says, not as rulers, which is what feminists interpret as heroes, as goodness, that just made a lot of things click. Yeah. They want to be rulers. I think this goes back to the theory about power. The feminists think that everyone respects power, and I guess they kind of do, because you're going to have to. But people fear power. They don't respect power necessarily. They fear power. They respect strength of character, and that seems to be what they don't really seem to understand, is that it's strength of character. And in a lot of these movies with feminist protagonists, they seem to skip over that part, where they go over the character, where they kind of skip over the character development of the character. And we don't get that part. We just get the power.
feminism demands it be so. One of the most important things that define a hero is their ability and willingness to sacrifice for others, even if it costs them everything. Being sacrificial is one of the oldest tenets of being a hero. In order to obtain the power that they have, it usually costs them something. Family, or a home, or their privacy, or even sometimes their lives. It's a way of testing the mettle of a person, seeing how they fare under pressure, what sort of person they are to be able to take on the tasks ahead of them. Every male hero has gone through it, whether it's Superman losing his father to a heart attack, something for all his power he could not control, or Captain America sacrificing himself to destroy the Tesseract and giving up any hope of a life with the woman of his dreams. Or even my favorite character, Wanda, having to actually kill the love of her life in the hopes that Thanos won't get his hands on the Mind Stone. It all matters. We all root for them in their sacrifices, and we want them to succeed in spite of everything that they have lost. There are important lessons to be learned through sacrifice, whether it's patience, or letting go, or duty even. But the feminist hero doesn't learn these lessons because loss is seen as an excuse to be allowed to do whatever you want. The loss of her memory...
There it is. See, any sort of loss, any sort of pain, anyone is mean to you, it's an excuse to be able to do anything you want. It's like an excuse to sidestep morality. Like, oh, well, that wasn't a very heroic thing to do. Yeah, but he called her a bitch or something like that. Oh, that wasn't a very heroic thing to do. Yeah, but he said that because she's a woman, she can't do X, Y, Z. So he deserved to be, punched in the balls.
And subsequent power up into becoming Captain Marvel led Carol Danvers to destroying the Kree Central Intelligence and nearly committing genocide, a crime for which she never atoned.
Like, unfortunately, long gone are the days of Silence of the Lambs, where it's about Clarice Starling clearly trying to fit into a man's world, and not doing so by complaining or calling Me Too or saying, oh, you're all this sexist or whatever. She works extra hard. She does all these things to prove herself, and she eventually does by the end. But she doesn't try to play the victim card. She earns her recognition by the end of Silence of the Lambs. Shay Durek says, Superman lost his father to an easily avoidable tornado, a threat Clark could have saved him from. Get your facts straight. Yeah, I'm that one in Man of Steel. But I don't say that as canon. But Man of Steel, yeah, it's like, no, Clark, you don't save me from this tornado. That's dumb. Okay. All right. And he's like, okay, you probably shouldn't save all these kids. I'm pretty sure that John Kent would be like, shut up, son. Go save those kids, damn it. Save those people from the tornado, son. All that stuff. I'm pretty sure he would have demanded his son, use that power for good, son. That's the right thing to do. Save people's lives. I'm pretty sure that would have been the case. Regardless of the consequence, do the right thing regardless of I'm pretty sure that's what Jonathan Kent would have said. Even if he disagreed with the action, he would like, good job, son. Good job.
Innocents were caught up in her destruction, but her only goal was to punish. Heroes like Miss Marvel, as much as the actress does seem like a nice person, sacrificed nothing to gain her powers, which came from some strange magical space bracelet.
Because the idea is that you shouldn't have to sacrifice things for power. You shouldn't have to sacrifice for anything. That's, in the ideal world, you should get power, you should just get recognition, whatever, for free. In a just world, that's not how it works. You have to make sacrifices. There should be consequences to having power.
She-Hulk became like a cousin on accident and spent most of her show resenting heroes and everything they stood for. If anything, feminism in heroes has shown that a loss allows them to do anything that they want regardless of the consequences. Sacrifice means nothing. Cost means nothing, because there is a focus on making everything being as easy for the protagonist as possible.
And she directs says, yeah, John Kent would have said, I don't know what you should have done, but you absolutely should not have let them drown. Exactly. They ever feel guilty about helping people, Clark. Just find smart ways to do it. Exactly. So that's what I'm thinking. Like Jonathan Kent and the real one, the one that we're supposed to have. But then I've been like, I don't know, maybe you should let those kids drown. Like that wouldn't even cross his mind. Like, I don't know how you would do it, son. Like this, but you save them. That's what he would have said. I'm pretty sure every single answer to be like, yeah, you save the kids, Clark. You don't just let them die. That's stupid. What the hell? The hell, Jonathan Kent? Yeah, he would have said save them. And he would have said, yeah, he probably would have said, like, be smart about it. But even if he got caught saving them, he probably would have been okay with it. Yeah, okay, now we got to deal with his consequences, son. But you did the right thing. You saved lives. That's good.
And by easy, that means having no standards, being exactly who you are, even if who you are is a disgusting shell of yourself, and never improving at all despite everyone around you working to do so. And as demonstrated through Supergirl's box office numbers, audiences are sick of it. We're sick of stagnant, selfish.
I think, yes, we are sick of these heroes who are not heroes. They even call her an anti-hero in the promotional material. We're also sick of generic Marvel slop, because that's what I got from watching the trailer. And the same reaction I got from the Doomsday trailer. It's just like, this is generic Marvel slop. It's very telling that I could just ask anyone who's seen the trailer of Doomsday and then go, okay, now tell me what the movie was about. They can't do it. They can't do it. Like, what the hell was the movie about? I don't know. I see the trailer twice now. I can't really tell you.
Sometimes degenerate feminism that has infected our female heroes and preaches to us that excelling isn't necessary. Working hard isn't necessary. Virtue isn't necessary. Just be your true, authentic self, no matter what that looks like, and you were automatically...
Always do feminist heroes and their storylines, right? It's not just that working hard isn't necessary. It's that if you have to work hard, there's something wrong, right? It's got the whole thing. Oh, let's go back
to us that excelling isn't necessary. Working hard isn't necessary.
And working hard, excel. If you have to excel, that the people are too harsh. The standards are too high. If you have to work hard, something is wrong. So we need to get rid of capitalism and institute communism and socialism. So then I could just relax all day, write stupid poetry, and get paid, have all my needs met. So the idea is all these great things that the heroes are supposed to inspire in you and tell you that is good and the right thing to do are actually wrong. And that if you have to excel, the standards are too high. If you have to work hard, the system is wrong, because you shouldn't have to work hard in your life.
Virtue isn't necessary.
Virtue is an option, right? Virtue is just for dorks. That's kind of it, right? That's kind of it. Like we saw with Zack Snyder in his quotes, like this day. If you think your heroes are innocent, fine. If you think your heroes are innocent, if you think your heroes didn't commit atrocities, fine. But you're living in a fucking dream world. That's what it is. Like so virtue is kind of like it's for dorks and the naive, which is the prevailing narrative that we have now.
Just be your true, authentic self, no matter what that looks like, and you were automatically a hero.
So what we say before, what does that mean? Your true, authentic self. Now, the feminists believe that your true, authentic self is your grossest side, like you just being gross and nasty to people, and this being nonchalant and non-caring and basically doing whatever you want is the ultimate virtue. Anything that gets in the way of that is evil and should be removed. When really, you need to be better than that, especially as a superhero. But as a person, it's not just about embracing your shadow. It's about being disciplined enough to reject these horrifying things, because everyone has dark impulses. Everyone has these intrusive thoughts. This is why we have the idea of the shadow. But it's you shouldn't embrace the shadow completely. You need to control it, but you shouldn't let it run rampant. You shouldn't let it run you. And so in my newest video, I'm going to compare, this Bruce Wayne to Two-Face, where the Joker is a really good dark mirror, dark reflection of Batman. Two-Face is a really good dark reflection to Bruce Wayne. Both men are kind of run or split between their persona and their shadow. Harvey Dent is a man that carries the same weight, but cannot control his shadow. He's Big Bad Harv, right? Big Bad Harv eventually takes over. Why? Because he spent his whole life cutting out his shadow, pushing it away, locking it away, when he should have learned to embrace it and to integrate it into his personality, but he didn't. So the price he pays is that his shadow he doesn't know how to deal with it. He can't control it. He locked it away. He can't control it. Whereas Batman / Bruce Wayne spent his whole life learning how to control that dark side of himself. So Batman is his shadow, but it's a controlled shadow. He's a monster, but a controlled monster. This almost literally pops up in Dark Knight Returns. It's in this whole comparison is probably it's most blatant in Dark Knight Returns, where there is a confrontation with Two-Face, and they kind of do connect on a certain level. But again, Harvey fell to villainy. He fell to his shadow. Bruce Wayne did not. He became a hero.
A hero, you are automatically good. But Hollywood has yet to learn their lessons on this, even though they are bleeding money and their directors and actors are being mocked as often as these concepts appear on screen. I can only hope for the day when sanity will return to our screens, or else that Hollywood destroys itself completely and we all turn to real, true, authentic heroism that has nothing to do with gender at all. Thanks so much for watching.
Because heroism is heroism. You don't just, but then again, you don't just become a hero because you're a woman. You become a hero because you're a good person and you have a strong ethics. Anyway, chat, we have reached the end of the stream, and we're still pretty far off from Pillarman. Still pretty far off. Shay Durag says, from what I've been told, anxiety is more universal experience for women than it is for men. Yes, I think so. So modern media about women in male roles is to tell them to calm down and stop worrying about things. Hakuna Matata. Of course, in male fields, how you feel is often irrelevant. Yeah, no one cares about how you feel as a man ever. It's often about getting the job done and being honorable while doing so. Thus, we get messages in films that don't belong in. Exactly. And also, men kind of vent frustrations and anxiety differently, usually. Like a woman will need to cry and express emotions through venting, where a man will go off and work on a car or work out or something. It's different. It's different. That's why, why don't men ever vent or react emotionally? Men do. It's just that they go off and work on something, go off and work out or whatever it might be. But yeah, it's just a lot of anxiety. Women experience a lot of anxiety. It is true. And it's just part of it is trying to get over that. Right. It's why it's social pressure, like social conflict is what women gravitate towards, because it's all about that. It's all about, the conflict of peer pressure and trying to live up to this certain social standard, social hierarchy, things like that. Daria was full of that. Every episode was full of social conflict. Her whole character is about seeking out social conflict, personally facing down social conflict. That was her entire character. And so every episode is pretty much that. That's why it was so interesting. But anyway, chat. Anyway. Still pretty far away from Pillarman Sue. No extra videos today. And no Pillarman today. So we will go ahead and move on to stream memes with this. Let me see. Where is it? Here we go.
It began with the suicide of Charles Blackwell, just days after his 55th birthday. Then the Rhineswan family massacre. 3 generations painfully passing from this world, crying the same crimson tears Blackwell had.
Sit alone on the edge of
5 members of the prominent Rhine Swan family were found dead.
After that, the media finally gave their murderer a name. The Red Crier Killer.
Memento mori. Remember you will die.
Investigators believe the killer may be the same individual the media has dubbed the Red Crier.
Memento mori. Remember you will die. I know it's droll to sell my soul. I wanted to protect them though, but I couldn't even play my role. Now vengeance is my only goal. Memento mori. Too late for sorry. No goodbye. Breath goes dry. I will cry when I remember you will die.
Oh, yes, best chat. And see, over here on the green tube, Carnage Ketcher says, here's my budget for the rest of the week. Maybe I still recommend EFAPing the Black Rock Shooter. Oh, yeah. The anime. But I think it was a $20 Rumble Rant. Carnage Ketcher, thank you very, very much. Let me see here. Let me see. Get the proper thank you clip there. Ready to go. Holy shit, indeed. Thank you very much. See, and then I'm going to add that to the total here. Let's see here. All right, that gets us to 83. 83. Now we're just $17 away, chat. $17 away. $17 away. Will we reach it by the industry memes? Who knows? If we do reach it by the industry memes, boom, we got another video. It's a. All right. Lady Fessel says, absolutely not. I want no feminist leadership. Men at least gave me, and people like me, a chance. Every feminist I've worked under has universally sabotaged my profession and many others, not just me. It tends to happen. Let's see. Comic Wiz says, Memento Moria is a banger for a song of Lady Midnight soundtrack. I thought so. That was pretty fitting. Yeah, you don't have $17. Anyway, chat. Let's go. Let's see. Elisa Maza. This is from Gargoyle. That's another good show. Gargoyles. They even have like a really good episode about guns, which I think they've kind of tried to axe from the continuity. But it's a really good episode about guns where she needs it because she's a cop. So it's not just about like anti-gun. It's really about, playing with the gun, not treating it seriously. Because Broadway comes in and starts playing with the gun and it goes off and she gets shot by it. It's like, oh crap. So it's about taking it seriously. Anyway, let's see here. Crawl to me, you worthless maggot. This is basically vanilla over these Legos. Oh no, pineapple. Whoa, Lady Facelon with the 10 gifted memberships. Thank you very much, Lady Fastlight. Very much appreciated. Let me see here. Thank you much for the 10. Get the membership, Lady Fastlight. Very, very generous. And it does get us to our goal of the day. Thank you very, very much. Fantastic. All right. Well, let me go ahead and update this. Awesome. We'll finish stream memes and then we'll go over to the video. One of the Warcraft videos I found. But we'll see how it goes, Chad. We'll see how it goes. All right. A green rises. Exactly. I'm one diarrhea lettuce away from Fidel. Oh, yeah, because the whole Taco Bell thing, right? Where they found out that the shredded lettuce is giving everyone explosive diarrhea. Now, one diarrhea lettuce away from fitting into my slutty little Andrew Tate capris. Isn't it crazy that a week ago none of these words have been said together? Yeah, it's very strange. Me deciding that I'm going to think about that. What I'm going to think about to keep me up at night every night. Construction workers be like first year, third year. Knock, knock. Who's there? The wind. Wind who? Oh, it's Miss Miss Windu, motherfucker. Oh, wind who? That's right, motherfucker. You under arrest. Awesome. Clacks versus loan words. A loan word is a word or phrase that was taken from one language to another. For example, the English word patio is from the Spanish word patio, which means patio. Loan words make up 70%, 70 to 80% of the English vocabulary. Clacks, calx, is a word or phrase that was coined by translating the component of a word or phrase into another language. For example, the English word skyscraper has been claked into Spanish by directly translating the words sky and scraper. Really? To give rasca cielos. Example of a calc, German lenwort, loanword. Okay. Interesting. Oh, there you go. Yeah, because he's also this is Liam Neeson, also a Jedi. I need somebody to care about me as much as Hank cared about Ladybird. Exactly. I think everyone does. Kratos watching Jesus resurrect after being defeated and stating he still loves Kratos despite all of his sins. He regrets his actions that weigh upon his soul. That'd be pretty interesting. He meets Jesus, and that's why he kind of converts into a better person. Let's see. Did you finish those Aeriths? Did you finish those Aeriths? Did you finish those Aeriths? Okay, we're going to have to relive Patrick's death once again. Cloud. Who sells flowers at 3 a.m? Oh boy, 3 a.m. Oh boy, 3 a.m. Biggest joke of the entire episode that the poor kid can afford to play Magic the Gathering at a competitive level. I cry from experience. Yeah, you're becoming too comfortable again. Remember what happened last time. That is true. Side effect many include bleeding from the ears, seizures, and cannibalism. People in the ad. They're all happy. Yeah. Oh, they look so cute together. It's this scene. Why that scene? The economy is so bad right now. They laid off both girls. 1 cup. Yeah, they can't afford the girls anymore. Now there's just 1 cup. No longer do they have 2 girls, 1 cup. It's just 1 cup now. I like Kratos being redeemed by Jesus' name. I think that'd be perfect. Yeah. The walk meme. Let's see. Walk, walk, walk. Oh, I love that Long John. This is the true Long John Silver. I'm not racist. My wife's boyfriend is black, but I believe we should reinstate slavery. What? Oh, this is only on Reddit. Only on Reddit, right? I'm not racist. My wife's boyfriend is black, but I believe we should reinstate slavery. Not in a racist way, but it's clear blacks cannot be allowed to live freely in a civilized society because they hold it back. Which one of you did this? Only on Reddit could this be a thing. That's pretty crazy. It's such a Reddit post. Japanese engineers developed a wearable robotic tail to help older. That's why they made a robotic tail for older adults to maintain balance. Yeah, Japanese engineers developed technology to help older adults fight that pesky Spider-Man. This is for furries or the lizard guys, the scalies, I think. This is for cosplay or furries or whatever. That's not for older adults. That's just like the excuse so that someone will give him a budget. Pretend he grew up in a humble background, was actually born into incredible wealthy parents. Pretend to be Muslim, but only when it was convenient to him. Spoke about how he's from the Middle East, but attended wealthy schools in the West. Justified the killing of women and children by jihadists. Lived a gated community. Published content claiming. Yeah, I was going to say this is going to be a Hassan Piker, actually. Yeah. Claiming American civilians deserve 9/11. Be Hassan Piker. Pick unrelated. Yeah. Do you have magic hair? Check. Do animals talk to you? Are you cursed? I'm a princess. Schrodinger's feminist. A woman is simultaneously a victim and empowered until something happens. Then she can choose which one she wants to be. Yeah. Gentlemen, it is a great sadness to inform you that women, how activists see themselves versus how everyone else views them. Yes, we demand to be taken seriously. Yeah, they have to demand it because no one will organically. I'm the guy whose treasure you just snatched. What? Gosh, that was your treasure? But Donald solved the puzzle. Tough break. We were here first. Come on, we got it fair and square. Say you wouldn't know what happened to our ship, would you? Look, you want the gizmo back? Cough up the goods. It's like this was Sora surfing on his key. What's this? Do not fist android girls. You give a few things, chasing a dream. Not the station, but the journey. Enough Waldo immersion, self-reliance, and accept an excerpt from collected essays, first series. What's this? Dang it, Jim! I'm a strummer, not a doctor. I mean, I am a doctor, but it's not that kind of doctor. I have a doctorate. It's not the same thing. You can't help people with a doctorate. You just sit there and you're useless. This feels like this was this what's his name? David Hyde Pierce ad-libbing. Is this him just making things up on the fly and they kind of just edited in there? That's pretty funny. I remember that part. When a teacher pairs me up with someone I don't like, here we go. Scrapped World. There's that one game that just they keep adding on new lore. And then there's him with Jack Sparrow. Look how far we've come. Captain Jack Sparrow. Building a raft to get off the island has 3 boats. I don't think you need a raft. I think you just take a boat. Like a little one of those little boats. Sora Riku. Ferb, this one looks at both at the same time. Revision 13. Japanese office workers are complaining about men's hairy legs after counter shorts. It's pretty funny. But are Japanese men going to have to shave their legs now? This is pretty good artwork. A little disturbing. That face is a little disturbing, but it's pretty good artwork. What's this? It came from space. And there it is. There's the scene where Riri Williams kind of demands that the teacher be mean to her so she can have like a goal in life. I've heard that the Keyblade can open all sorts of locks. I can't open it. I think we're going to have to kill this guy, Ben. Damn. And then there's a birthday party. Makes sense. Like Long John Silver is there. Shy. And there's this. Oh yeah, there's the Superman saving somebody's life. And Jonathan Kent goes, "What were you supposed to do, Clark? Just let him get hit?" Well, the Man of Steel, Jonathan Kent would have said, "Yeah, let him die." See, this is She-Hulk. This is what She-Hulk was supposed to be. Quit stalling, Shulky. We've got 22 pages to fill. Yeah, get going. This makes sense. I remember this being a trend going around. There's like they did Freerin, they did Azula. Like there's a lot of this pose going around. And Maya Moore created Michael Jordan's ring photo with her 12 championship rings. Damn, she has 12 rings, and I've never seen her or heard of her in my life. Yeah, it's kind of, Michael Jordan earned his. I'm pretty sure she was just given these for other reasons. Like, why haven't I heard of her then? Everyone has heard of Michael Jordan. Like, he was like the star of the day. How come she has it's kind of like that the whole thing with the generals and how like, okay, this guy like won 2 wars and he has like 2 medals. This guy has lost every single encounter he's ever been in and has like a chest full of medals for some reason. Kind of feels like that. But anyway, chat, you have earned one of these. Let me see. All right, let's go with this one. Here we go. Let's go with this one. You didn't leave Warcraft. Warcraft left you. Let's check it out, chat. Let's check it out. See what they say. Boop. Here we go. Chat. Let's see what they say.
baby! Yeah!
My dog loves World of Warcraft.
This used to be World of Warcraft, a game full of conflict and war. It's considered by many the greatest and biggest video game ever made, generating way past $10 billion in its lifetime. But somewhere along its way, it has lost its magic.
I was entertained literally every second. In current World of fucking Warcraft, you can get to level 100 by buying it.
It's like the game, like you.
There it is. Yeah, that's kind of. I think I heard that was a big defining moment when you could just buy your way to ultimate power. I mean, you could used to be able to do that a little bit, right? Where back in the day, you could like buy a top tier character and everyone would hate it because they had no idea how to use it. It was really powerful, but it's not just about the level in World of Warcraft. It's about knowing how to use your skills effectively. That's another big one.
You can't even understand what the fuck is happening in the game.
For years, the company behind the game, Blizzard, has desperately been trying to recreate the magic that once was.
This was the creamiest commercial for Warcraft I have ever seen. Like, where's the war? Everyone's having fun, and it's like just everyone's getting together. It's kind of, yeah, it really does feel like Disneyland. Why aren't you fighting orcs? Why is there a dwarf over there? Why aren't you killing each other?
But without much success. Today, they're even afraid to disclose their own subscriber numbers, and the people behind the game wished it wasn't even called Warcraft anymore.
Man, I wish we hadn't called it Warcraft. Sounds kind of intimidating.
Which is confusing when it's literally a...
Can we just fire anyone who says like we shouldn't have called Warcraft? It's about war. What? There's no reason on earth that you would want to not call it Warcraft. It's about war. Every single thing is about war.
A game about war between two factions. Now, how do you go from being recognized as the biggest game in the world to be embarrassed by your own name? I think I found the answer, but it's not as obvious as you might think. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why not even Blizzard can bring it back. In 2004, World of Warcraft took the gaming industry by storm, and it quickly became one of the biggest massive multiplayer online games.
I wouldn't talk to them if they don't play WoW.
What would get you to stop playing? I don't want to stop. Why would I want to stop?
How long are you going to play for?
Yeah, back then, for me, I don't know about the rest of you, but if you played World of Warcraft, to me, it kind of ended with Cataclysm. Like, I didn't want to play it after that. Like, why did they make such a large-scale world change? I kind of like it the way it was. I guess I do understand that they want to make a big change so that so the world can feel refreshed, but I didn't want that. I want just add on more stuff, but I wanted to always go back to Goldshire. I wanted to always hang out Stormwind or something like that. But they changed so much. This Cataclysm just changed the world. It was silly.
All night, all week, maybe.
You don't have to work tomorrow?
Work. There's no such thing as work with WoW.
People literally spend years of their lives in the game, and some of the closest friendships came from meeting each other online.
We met on World of Warcraft.
I got him into WoW. I got like 7 of my friends into WoW. My ex-girlfriend, emphasis on the ex.
When new expansions came out, people would travel across continents just to wait in line for the midnight release.
We're at EB Games in West Hollywood for the release of the Burning Crusade.
I come from Mexico.
Burning Crusade, that was fun. That was a good expansion. I like the Burning Crusade. Yeah, I guess at one point they thought, what would spring new life into all this? Making Disneyland and taken the war out of Warcraft and make it all friendly and polished and cozy.
Just to get Burning Crusade.
Now, briefly put,
I remember one of the coolest things, the coolest moments is a moment that didn't happen, but it was like I was playing Alliance with some friends, and we all heard a rumor that there's going to be a huge horde assault on Ironforge. And like, oh, this is gonna be cool. And we're all prepared. Everyone's like getting ready. It never happened, but it was like a cool rumor. It was a kind of like cool anticipating, like, oh, there's gonna be like a huge gathering of Horde players, and we're gonna be fending off Horde as we defend Ironforge. It was cool. It was a cool idea, but that's kind of like what you would do. You would do stuff like that. It was very interesting. But now it's like it seems so Disney World. And there's no. It's only like a ironic violence, so you don't really dislike each other at all. It's like, oh, we're just having some fun, fighting each other. Then we'll get a beer afterwards. Was Warcraft and other IPs deserve a better fate than how they're treated by modern Blizzard? Overwatch had a potential to be classic, but its potential ended up being wasted due to identity politics. Yeah, Warcraft was amazing all the way up to like the modern day World of Warcraft, where it kind of just nuked the lore.
World of Warcraft was a world inhabited by its players, and as you made your character, you naturally also picked the faction that you would belong to, which was a choice at first that didn't really seem like it mattered, but it did. Now imagine that you entered the zone, the Barrens, as a Horde player. You're excited to have hit level 10. You place your first talent point in your talent tree, looking forward to filling out the remaining 50. You're now off to explore the world. But suddenly, an Alliance player marked as Skull appears out of nowhere and just kills you. You press release spirit, only to find yourself having to walk for 10 minutes as a ghost. So you find your body and are able to come back to life. But then, 3 seconds after you come to life, the Alliance player kills you once again. You see, he gets his joy out of making your life miserable, which is why he's been waiting for you for all 10 minutes. And this is exactly where the magic of World of Warcraft happens. Because
that's true. There were some of these dicks. This was such a prominent thing that they made a whole episode about it in South Park.
Nothing builds a stronger bond between players than sharing a common enemy. You start to ask for help from other Horde players in the zone-wide chat, and together you defeat that Alliance scum. Now from this day onwards, you're a Horde player for life, officially at war with the Alliance.
I'm looking for World PvP because I hate Horde, so I kill Horde when I see Horde.
You guys play together?
No, we play different servers. He's Horde, I'm Alliance.
Ah, she's cheating on him. She's cheating on him. Of course she'd be Alliance. I mean, I'm in Alliance because I like I always side with the humans, but although I ended up playing like a Night Elf because I thought Night Elves were cool from Warcraft 3. But yeah, it's just I see Horde, I kill Horde.
Oh, that's like separate bedrooms. Wait until she levels up so I can kill her.
It became a cult-like movement.
Like the amount of people who walk up to me and show me their Horde tattoo.
Yeah, that's my tattoo. The Alliance.
Horde! Horde for the win! Horde!
Alliance. Horde.
Come on, man.
Even commercials.
I will say the Horde icon is way cooler than the Alliance icon. The Horde icon is awesome.
Were centered around the two factions at war. But the extreme rivalry of the two factions wasn't just something that randomly happened. In fact, it was born from one of the most controversial decisions in the game's development.
The world is divided into two warring factions. There's the Horde and the Alliance. And that was a very important, very controversial decision that was made by Alan Adham. Pardo and I came from EverQuest, where we felt like this was a horrible decision Alan was making.
You see, in EverQuest, every race would be able to group up and play together, splitting the world in two.
Yeah, the Night Elves in Warcraft 3 were awesome because it was about like how they were just these ancient guardians of the forest and stuff, and they were very powerful. They were incredibly powerful. They could put up a fight against the orcs and the humans. They were a pretty powerful faction, especially when they were powered by the World Tree. But I guess they became like subservient to humans recently. I think their like home got destroyed or something like that.
Was seen as a very bad strategic move. But Alan Adam, one of the founders of Blizzard, had seen something that the others hadn't.
He came from more of the dark age of Camelot that was more PvP based.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the magic of that game was they had 3 factions. He liked the fact that you were instantly on a team. You weren't a loner in the world. Whether you liked it or not, you had people on your side. Alan's a smart guy. The fact that he was fighting so hard for Horde Alliance, we gotta do it.
The war between the factions wasn't just a side effect. It was the design. But splitting the world into 2 teams were only half of it, because a rivalry in a war, well, it needs a reason behind it to make you want to fight. And that reason, that came from just only one man.
Chris Metzen, who was the creative director on World of Warcraft, and really like Alan Adham, who's one of the founders of Blizzard, calls Chris the heart and soul of Blizzard. It's almost like when you're making a Blizzard game, you're making Chris's imagination. And Chris famously said the lead character of World of Warcraft is the world.
You see, World of Warcraft was based off of the game Warcraft, which was a strategy game about 2 armies at war. and Metzen had been the one writing.
No way. Well, yeah, well, that's like the Warcraft, Orcs and Humans. That's a pretty fun one. It's tough, but it's fun. It's pretty brutal in terms of like the difficulty scaling. Like you really have to know how to use the stuff. Like it's when you get wizards and we get clerics, make sure to use those things because it's tough to win without them. Like it's a good strategy is to get a bunch of wizards if you're humans, I guess. If you're orcs, you need a bunch of like I think warlocks, and they start summoning stuff. Like they start summoning stuff to start testing your opponents.
The war since the very beginning.
In Warcraft 1, we had the kingdom of Stormwind and the land of Azeroth, and it was the conflict of that game was pretty much contained within that place. The orcs come through the swamps of Sorrow and through Elwynn Forest and attack Stormwind. The scope of that conflict was pretty small.
Yeah, the names used to be really cool, like the Swamps of Sorrow. Like they're bad guys. They used to have the Temple of the Damned and stuff. It's pretty awesome. It was pretty good. Like, it's really hardcore, very very masculine, testosterone heavy storyline. But now it's just it's about getting together with your friends and having a little adventure and having PvP and getting a house. You can have a house now. I mean that is a cool idea. I always wanted like a house you could get in Warcraft, but like now it's like, oh, you live in a little gated community. You can decorate your little house like that. Yeah, but it's not as cool anymore. I want it to be like a fortress. So yeah, here's my house. I live in on this on the Barrens and the frontier and stuff. That would be pretty cool. But now it's just like it's cozy little houses you can get.
As we started talking about Warcraft 2 and the idea.
Warcraft 2 was awesome. I really like Warcraft 2. They expanded a lot on the original game because this Warcraft 2 is where they started adding in. It was still orcs and humans, but they started adding other races. So humans got elves and gnomes and dwarves and stuff like that, and orcs got goblins and trolls and ogres. And then also, they got dragons, which is really awesome. The orcs got dragons, the humans got dwarven and griffin riders, which is also really cool. And it's where you get mages and death knights. It was cool. There was so much stuff here, and Warcraft 2 has a unique thing that it never really brought back, which was naval combat. They had everyone had like ship battles and different ships. There was like the regular ship, the attacker, the juggernaut, or the battleship. And transports, oil refineries, things like that. It was pretty cool, but they never brought it back. They never really got into that again. And they kind of sort of had it in there with Warcraft 3, but only under certain conditions. But it wasn't a mainstay mechanic in Warcraft 3. But it was really cool to have like ship battles and pirate orcs and everything.
Of expanding the two armies, the human group became the alliance with elves and dwarves and gnomes. Reciprocally, the orc group expanded to include forest trolls and ogres and death knights and all sorts of good creepy guys. So a lot of the design decisions with the two armies and kind of expanding them predicated building the world and building it out further.
Now, Alan Adam and Chris Metzen both agreed on a very important thing, and that was the game needed both factions and a reason to fight each other, essentially giving birth to the magic of the World of Warcraft. But to Chris, this wasn't just a video game that they were making.
It's more than just a video game. It's more than just this project we work on, for long periods of time. It's a vehicle through which we engage with the world, through our community, through the players and the people that love the fiction or the raiders, the PvP players, right? All sorts of different types of WoW player out there, but we're all kind of united by this space.
And the passion that the players would feel from Chris Metzen building these stories so passionately to bring us together is essentially what made World of Warcraft such a big game for years. But Blizzard's biggest success of a video game would soon get in very big trouble. When you attract millions upon millions of players interested in paying a subscription fee, well, you also attract someone else. And someone else was knocking on Blizzard's door. Meet Bobby Kotick, a hardcore American businessman who had been at the steering wheel for Activision since the 90s. His entire career was built on doing turnarounds of companies near bankruptcy.
I never ran a business that didn't make money. Mm-hmm. Like, that gets back to the DNA of, I don't know how to do that.
After successfully turning the sinking ship of Activision around, he was hungry for more. So he put his target on a studio that could build him an empire, Blizzard Entertainment. The deal he made merged Activision with Blizzard's parent company. And from that, they created a giant called Activision Blizzard.
So that's what happened. Of course, it all comes down to a cringy businessman who has no idea how to connect to the fan. Now, the businessman kind of tactics might work on normal businesses, but it's always an iffy topic when it comes down to creative ventures, because, and that's what it is. Like Blizzard, the World of Warcraft, the whole storyline, the lore, and everything. This doesn't really mesh well with hardcore strategic business practices. Because normal business practices about, here's a product, let's sell it. Okay, it's about, here's a good product, here's what it does, let's go ahead and sell it the right way, and who would like this and who would like that, and who are you marketing to. But when it comes down to creative ventures, it's a little more ambiguous as to what they're actually selling, what the product actually is. So it's not about the numbers. A lot of it is about the lore, the story, the continuity, the characters, the heroes and everything. So a lot of businessmen, or at least people with a business mindset, don't really know how to handle creative ventures like this, because it's not a like tangible product, like let's sell car batteries, let's sell even food. Like we know what the food tastes like. It tastes pretty good. It can even standardize the flavor. But with creative ventures, it's a lot tougher to know exactly what you're doing. And when you're like looking at okay, we need to make money, let's go ahead and sell different costumes and hats and everything. Okay, well that's an easy service level way to make money, but you're starting to eat away and start disrespecting the deep lore and the immersion of the game, so that you can sell different things, or costumes or whatever. Oh, people want this. Well, let's give them that. People want hats. Let's give them hats. People want to buy levels. Let's give them that. People want to buy new haircuts, and we can just merge different haircuts from one race into another. Let's make them available to everybody. You want to do that? If you want to restart your character, let's do that. You get rid of all consequences. Let's do that. You can buy your way to level 100, no problem. If you want to spend that money, they did all that, and by doing that, they kind of ruined the experience.
Bobby Kotick at the steering wheel, together with
also it's against the nature of the business mindset to exclude people. Like the idea here is that the more people who want to buy, the better, right? But the idea of preserving the continuity, the lore, the hardcore fandom, right? It's about exclusion. Ultimately speaking, it's about catering to the fans, not branching out and bring in normies. It's like, so in this regard, when you go into a creative venture, it really is like that. It really is like the opposite of your traditional business, the opposite of traditional business practice, right? So when you get like a businessman to start running a creative venture, a creative franchise, all his know-how goes against what people like about the creative franchise or IP or whatever you want to call it, because it is about exclusion. It is about catering to this small fraction of fans, fraction of people who like your stuff. Now, it might be a large amount of people, but it's still just like a small scope of who you should be catering to, as opposed to kind of cater to everybody in general, which is what you want to be doing when you offer products on an ordinary business level. But when you're selling a story, it's about narrowing the focus and keeping people fans, because it's a strange thing that stories like this do. Strange thing that creative things do is that, yeah, the scope might be narrow, but it keeps drawing in new people naturally and organically, because the story is so good, the lore is so good, the heroes are so good, the friction, the world, the conflicts are so good. It just brings in people naturally. Whereas a normal product in normal business space, you have to go out there and start advertising and start convincing people to come in. Or a good story, a good franchise, a good fantasy or whatever will naturally bring in people who are attracted to it. This, that people know about it. That's about it. So that's why I think every single time like a business guy gets into the realm of creativity, where it's like about a story, it's about a fantasy, it's about lore and characters, it's about creative writing essentially, it tends to fall downhill. Yeah, they can make money by exploiting it, but the more they force business practices into this creative space, the less integrity it has. They're making money at the price, at the cost of what everyone loved about it. And eventually it's going to be destroyed. People are going to walk away. It's going to feel so generic and so bland that most people are just going to play it for, shallow reasons, and you're not really going to have a fan base anymore.
This board, and they only had one thing in mind, and that was making money. Now, the timing was almost too perfect because Blizzard were actually mid-development on what would become the single biggest expansion that World of Warcraft would ever see, growing from all the way up to 12 million subscribers. Do you realize how much money that is? They were nearly making $180 million per month. Now, making money isn't necessarily a bad thing, because Blizzard were already doing so way before Activision entered the image. But when your number one priority is to be profitable, it shifts the focus from making the World of Warcraft to make money off of the World of Warcraft. And this matters because suddenly the game and the people developing it had metrics and targets to reach, which means that the decision-making wasn't up to Chris Metzen all alone anymore, but rather in the boardroom talking about numbers and targets. Suddenly, the content that was made and released with the patches was more focused on keeping you playing with daily and weekly chores. But even worse, microtransactions were also introduced. Now, the first purchasable mount, the Celestial Steed, was priced at $25. And according to a former Blizzard developer, it ended up making more money than StarCraft 2 would ever make. Think about that for a second. Bobby Kotick and Activision were really good at making money indeed.
Yeah, they made money, but at what cost? The cost of the integrity of the world, right? It's kind of how it goes. The more you exploit them for blatant cash grabs, the less it becomes real, the less attachment you get to it. At least a story, story-wise, especially when you start really exploiting the lore, making changes that they think will bring in more people, they think will bring it, because their idea would be like a regular person's idea. The actual creative person at the head of the creative team would be, what would be next that would bear the story? What better conflict could we go to next that will create cool conflict and interest in the current story? Where a businessman would be like, okay, what we need something to happen. I don't care what is anything. Let's get a conflict in there. What will be the best thing, the most controversial thing we could do, and they'll go with that instead, without even one care for the lore or the integrity of the narrative.
But they weren't the only ones who had noticed how much money that World of Warcraft was printing. The entire gaming industry wanted a piece of the pie. One by one, new MMOs started appearing. Star Wars: The Old Republic, at the time one of the most expensive video games ever made. Warhammer Online, Rift.
And they also had like a Conan one. It was great. There's so many MMOs that came out this time.
Wildstar, and even Final Fantasy. Every time one of them was released, the press and some of the player base would hype it up to be a potential WoW killer. But essentially, nothing could recreate the magic of World of Warcraft. Star Wars lost so many subscribers, it went free to play within a year. Wildstar got shut down, and Final Fantasy, it never really took off. Well, until later, but I'll get back to that. No WoW killers actually killed the game, and it was dominating its competition, essentially crowning it the king of the MMO genre. But as Chris Metzen wrote in his own story arc,
no king rules forever, my son.
As Blizzard had just peaked in its subscribers with the conclusion of its storyline of Wrath of the Lich King, something was about to go terribly wrong. You see, changing the focus from creating a world to milking it will never go unnoticed by your own player base. And the players, well, they just wanted the magic back.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
The classics. I think at first, like, no, we'll never do that. And then they kind of relented eventually.
In 2013, one very brave soul managed to enter BlizzCon's Q&A and ask the Blizzard team directly if they would ever reintroduce a classic version of the game. But Activision Blizzard, well, they just dismissed his proposal.
No. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
Essentially breaking the link of trust between the developers and the players. Slowly but surely, the player base's frustration only grew bigger and bigger.
You probably heard me do a long rant about why I hate World of Warcraft currently. You can legitimately get to level 100 in a day. A fucking day. I feel like everyone wants to love World of Warcraft so fucking badly, and it's just so hard. It's this stupid fucking deformed piece of shit.
But it wasn't just the players who were struggling with Blizzard's change of focus. On the inside, the very own people who had created the world were starting to struggle as well. By the release of the expansion Mr. Pandaria, Chris Metzen, the heart and the soul of the game, had started showing early signs of disagreeing with the direction of the game and Activision Blizzard.
Sure, it's a job. Sure, we got a company to run, we got a product to put out, but that's not the point.
He confided in an open interview that one of his greatest fears were to let down the Warcraft fans. He feared that people hated the game that they had made, and he dishonored the brand and the company behind it. He felt like a victim of the split focus within Blizzard to make money, as he described in his own words, falling into a trap and cycle of performance. In 2016, Chris Metzen resigned from his role at Blizzard due to extreme burnout. But he didn't just leave Blizzard and the game behind. He also left the player base behind. You see, they kept releasing expansion upon expansion built to keep its players playing and sell copies. But the subscriber count would just still keep dropping. Eventually, Blizzard just stopped telling us what their subscriber numbers were. But as players had lost all hope for the game, something had been going down in secret. As these supposedly...
That sucks. Imagine like being chased out of your own project. That's crazy. And of course they'd stop printing those numbers. Same reason why comic book companies start printing how much units they sell every month. It's like, because it's all embarrassing. It's all embarrassing. It used to be great, and then it hit rock bottom. So it's really telling when a company goes from printing numbers to not printing numbers. It's not because they got better. I can tell you that right now.
The MMO killers had been appearing left and right to push Warcraft off of its pedestal. It turns out that the actual threat wasn't any of them. 30 hardcore WoW fans who had been playing since the release of the classic game in 2004 had taken it upon their own hands to give the players what they actually wanted. Illegally, they had built a duplicate version of the old game and ran a publicly available server for free called Nostalrius. And the server, well, it was literally packed with people who had quit Blizzard's version of the game to play the game that had the magic that they fell in love.
I was like, this always happens. It's like the companies are like, oh no, we know what's better, what's best for you, and then everyone starts abandoning the product. It starts, whether it be like an IP or an MMO like this, and then the fans go off to make their own thing because the company has refused to give the fans what they want, and it becomes so popular, so powerful that it becomes undeniable. And instead of going, oh, I think we should reflect upon ourselves, and maybe we should do the thing that the fans want, they'll get angry and say, how dare you do this? This is obvious. And they'll make an excuse like something like, oh, it's just a small vocal minority of fans. It's not really anything to concern. Most people like World of Warcraft. To do that kind of cope. But really, the real fan base, they know exactly what they want. They know exactly what everyone wants. And even people who are like, oh, this is kind of strange, kind of new. Well, I kind of like the current game. They go here, it's like, whoa, this is way better. This is way better.
Love with. In over a year, Nostalgia has reached close to 1 million created accounts. And over...
Oh, man. Yeah, small minority of fans. I bet Blizzard would like that million, huh?
150,000 active monthly players. Even the biggest World of Warcraft streamers, such as Sodapuppin, was playing on the Nostalgia servers when he wasn't streaming, ultimately showing to Blizzard that the real threat to World of Warcraft was its own former self. But because this was an illegally built server, and Blizzard owned the IP, they just, without much hesitation,
they'll just shut it down. Of course they shut it down. They couldn't learn from it, right? It could be like, oh yeah, you did all this, and wow, 1 million people, wow, it's 1 million accounts, that's insane. They couldn't just say, oh, that's a good idea, let's start doing that. It's like, no, they had to shut it down. No, we know what's best. We don't want to listen to that. The players need to adhere to our demands. It's kind of like that CEO guy from Smiling Friends. It's my IP to sit on and do nothing with. How dare you? It's a David Musselman. There's a $20 super sticker. Go. Thank you very much, David Musselman. Very, very, very generous. Thank you very much. All right, we'll give you one of these. Let me give you the proper thank you clip here. Holy shit! Thank you much, Dave Musselman. Appreciate it. Very generous. I'm going to add that to the tally of the day. And I don't think we're going to need too much money tomorrow to reach because I think we have reached the unlocked not only the unlocked extra video, obviously, but also Venture Brothers. I think we're going to do more Venture Brothers, and I don't think we need too much more to reach the goal of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I think we're pretty close to that too.
Sent a cease and desist to shut down the server, which meant that once again, the players were very discouraged and felt more frustrated than ever.
They literally ran it for
to be fair, that was inevitable. They had to protect their IP, but the thing is, even if they did that, which it was inevitable that they would, whether or not they respected the effort, they should have learned from it. There should have been a wake up call to go, oh wow, 1 million accounts. This is not just like a small subset of fans. There's a lot of them. Maybe we should try making changes.
just the love of the game, as JonTron puts it. And you literally went out of your way and you got them shut down. It was your game. That was so good.
But then something incredible happened.
Every single serious gamer played World of Warcraft at least once in their life. Blizzard would make a ton of money. So many people would come back if these servers were made and released.
To convince Blizzard to finally listen, the players had realized they needed to do the market research for Blizzard, showing the potential money that they could make off of re-releasing the classic game. And a petition was made. And it got signed by...
Did they ever explain why? Well, the guy said that, oh, no, we're not going to do that. And by the way, you don't want that. You think you do, but you don't. Why? I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have asked the question if they didn't want that. And it proved time and time again that guy was, why are so many people at Blizzard retarded? Like, why are there so many retards working for Blizzard? What kind of retard would even say that? Of course they would like it. You know why I know that? Because that's why people gravitated towards World of Warcraft in the first place. They liked it. They liked the original WoW, the WoW with the Burning Crusade and all that stuff. What do you mean you don't want that? That's retard. What a retarded thing to say. Why? It's not just that one time. It's like they're trying to make Diablo for mobile, and it's like was this some sort of like out of season April Fool's joke? It's like what. You guys are retarded. Like, why are there so many retards working for Blizzard? What the hell happened?
280,000 people. It even got featured on BBC. Now, former...
I think they should like go up to BlizzCon and ask that. Like, why? Yes, my question is, why are there so many retards, like fucking retards, working for Blizzard? Is there like a requirement to work at Blizzard to be fucking retarded? Like, is that part of the negotiation at hiring?
WoW lead Mark Kern, he personally carried close to 10,000 of its pages into the official Blizzard HQ. And the Nostalrius team actually reached out to Blizzard to offer their help, saying that they would come on board to build the game with them.
And of course, and that seems pretty cool. Like, oh, of course, Blizzard was like, oh wow, all this information is pretty useful.
So Blizzard invited them in, and they met, but it was never disclosed what was said at the meeting, which to the players made it even worse when Blizzard afterwards just decided to say nothing.
Yep. Of course. They might have said like, okay, come in, we're going to have a talk. And then they're going to do what Disney did to George Lucas. They're going to happily invite him in, accept his manuscripts and his notes, and toss him right in the garbage.
For a year and a half, nothing. Until November 3rd, 2017.
I want to take a minute. And I want to talk about ice cream. What? No way. Ice cream is one of my favorite desserts. But I understand that for some of you, no way. Your favorite flavor is vanilla.
Vanilla wow.
No way.
Vanilla? So that's why Mark Kern says that he really was instrumental in getting the WoW classic servers up and running. I guess it makes sense. He was. If this is true, then he was. Yeah.
Big dwarf. Holy fuck. Oh, Jesus.
Well, in case you guys didn't notice,
you see they announced classic servers?
We're doing it again.
Well, I don't even recognize Asmongold. It's crazy. With short hair, it looks crazy.
We agreed we were going to do that at the end.
I just want to make sure you knew.
I could not believe that it would be announced.
So I just watched the announcements. Dude, I lost it. Oh, I started tearing up.
J. Allen Bragg, the very same guy who had gone out on stage to say that they would never release Classic and that we as a player base think we want it, but we don't. He went out on stage again at BlizzCon to reveal that World of Warcraft Classic
Good. I'm glad they made him do it.
was finally being re-released, and the community went crazy for it. As it was released, streamers flocked to play WoW, and even veteran players returned to feel that same feeling they had back in 2004 playing the game. It broke the launch day Twitch records, with 1.1 million viewers on release day, and Blizzard finally saw their subscriber count just go up, as it was, according to their own financial statements, the biggest quarterly subscription increase they had ever seen. There's just one massive problem with re-releasing an old game. You see, it was living on borrowed time. No matter how you looked at it, it is still a re-release of an old game. And come the final patch of that game, Blizzard didn't have its soul at the steering wheel, Chris Metzen, which meant that when players were still actively playing the classic game, the decision for where to go with World of Warcraft Classic had to be made by someone else. Now enter Holly Longdale, the brought-in lead for Classic. You see, Holly...
Oh, it's a woman. So I know where this is going. I know where this is going.
Had came directly from EverQuest, the same game that the original developers of WoW had taken inspiration from, which...
EverQuest, not Warcraft.
Sparked a hope in the community. But the thing is just that her role at EverQuest wasn't connected to building an immersive world. It was something else. You see, under her decade-long tenure at EverQuest, she was in charge of re-releasing old versions of the game almost annually, each time with some added twist or a quality of life improvement, all to recycle old content and sell copies. Which is why when she joined Blizzard, Activision Blizzard went on to let Holly do what Holly does best. And that's when they announced that they would re-release the Burning Crusade Classic, just with extra vanity items to pay for and a copy to buy. Even seasonal servers, like they had done with EverQuest, came to life in World of Warcraft, constantly giving the player...
They should have gotten a creative person, not someone who's just like, I know how to repackage old stuff.
Base hope that this would be a fresh version built on the old game that had so much magic that made it great. Eventually, of course, the disconnection to their player base caught up to Blizzard and to Holly. Because while they kept re-releasing old content, while never really making meaningful updates to the game, the players had caught eye on something else. A WoW killer from the past that had come back to haunt the future of what WoW was. Final Fantasy XIV, a game that had initially failed, had remade their own game, and it was full of soul, as the creator behind it was a hardcore MMO player himself. Final Fantasy offered the WoW players a game that was built for gamers by gamers, like World of Warcraft once had been. And this caused a mass exodus from World of Warcraft by both players and huge streamers. But here's the sad truth. Because whenever Blizzard lost its players to a game like Final Fantasy or a private server like Nostalrius, they were literally being told the same thing. We don't want new. We want what was lost. Now, either Blizzard just couldn't hear it or actively chose to ignore it. Because they were...
Because vanilla WoW was a good idea, but it was just... You have to keep it going. All right, it's an MMO. It has to keep going. It's add new stuff to it, but you have to add stuff to old content, old vanilla WoW. You can't just like repackage it with like some extra cosmetic items or whatever. You have to keep it going. And effectively, I guess what that would mean is there's two timelines, right? There's vanilla WoW timeline that'll keep it vanilla WoW, just with new stuff added, and there's like the post Cataclysm WoW.
We're still trapped between the split focus of hitting quotas and keeping the players happy. But now there was a sale to Microsoft on the table, which meant that of course the numbers had to look good no matter what. So instead of rebuilding the world, they essentially just doubled down on the strategy of chopping down World of Warcraft Classic into several different versions of the old game. Seasons of Mastery, Seasons of Discovery, Hardcore, and Era. Each one spiked and then faded a little faster than the last. And selling game copies built on a feeling of nostalgia won't last forever. They had taken a mirror of what once...
You can't live forever on nostalgia. I might get people in the seats or whatever, or buying the copy or subscribing for a few months, but it's not going to last forever. You need to have some substance to go along with it. Nostalgia should get you through the door, but the substance should keep you there.
Used to be World of Warcraft and just shattered into different pieces, hoping that the players wouldn't realize...
Is that true? To be honest, lots of people went to Final Fantasy after the breast milk incident. Is that real? Like, does the average like player like care about the breast milk incident? Other than came back, so it's like they were angry for a little bit about the breast milk incident, and they came back. I guess it's not that big of a deal, huh?
It is literally the same glass. And the man who set all of this in motion, well, he didn't really have to watch it break, because Microsoft bought the company, and Bobby Kotick just sailed off with a fortune, while the entire industry applauded him for turning World of Warcraft into a machine that just printed money. But with the supposedly villain finally gone, so surely the magic could come back now, right? And this is where something genuinely unexpected happened. Something that would surprise even the old school veteran players and those who had left to play another game. Because Blizzard had one more card up their sleeve.
There may very well be a job posting up soon on the Orgrimmar Warboard. And if there is, we'll call you.
Hey, love you guys. I miss you.
They had realized they could no longer recreate the magic that made the game so special. So they broke their in case of emergency glass and called back the heart and soul himself.
Please welcome my friend and the executive creative director of the Warcraft universe.
Oh, shit.
Chris Metzen.
They're bringing him back.
What up, BlizzCon? Horde, where you at? Alliance!
I like that him coming back on stage because it means it's like Disney kind of building the need of 2D animation again because they're bringing in anime to save Star Wars because apparently that's like their emergency glass. So they had to kowtow to 2D animation like little bitches. But this is like you guys all sucked and you failed. So you got to bring back the old guy. It's kind of like the same thing as Marvel, the MCU. Crawling back to Robert Downey Jr. Please, Robert Downey Jr., save us. He's like, okay, for $100 million, I'll save you. Make me Doomsday. Maybe Dr. Doom. Make me Dr. Doom.
Never thought I would see this again.
The king had returned to save his kingdom, and for the first time in many years, there were finally real hope. But it didn't take long for this whole illusion to shatter, because both
what could he actually do though at this point?
Both the company and the game he returned to wasn't at all the same anymore.
It's been violated. There's a story right about this woman. I think I posted it on Twitter, but this woman is like, oh yeah, I saw my boyfriend has had this guitar since he was in high school. He found it in the trash and recreated himself, like he refurnished it or whatever you want to call it, renewed it, and it looks pretty bad, but it played. And she's like, oh, I secretly for his birthday went ahead and had it professionally restored, but now he doesn't want to use it again. It's not his anymore. So they might bring back the old creator, but the game, the storyline, the lore, everything is not his. He's going to have to work off of someone else's work. It's kind of like bringing in a master craftsman to come in and try to save a story that was written by an idiot. It's kind of like, okay, well, he can only do so much. Like he can do it well, but it's not going to be his. It's not going to be the full breadth of his masterwork, his master craftsmanship. It's just not. So it's very interesting how that works. So you could bring him back, but what can he actually do?
Everybody to be able to play WoW. I just want to bring it to as many people as possible. And that means, evolving what Warcraft means, what it is, and where it's
like that. Stop saying evolving. No, bring it. They don't want it to. The players have spent years telling you they don't want it to evolve. They wanted to go back to what the player base actually wants. It's not a business. It's not a business in that respect anyway. It's not a, we need to spread this around as much as we can. It's a make the central core creative part of it really good, and it'll bring in people organically. They don't understand that. It's like, okay, we brought in the old guy. It's like the corporations do not understand. They never understand. It's like I keep using that YouTube rewind as an example where, like, okay, obviously they were not in touch with people and everyone hated the rewind. So they kind of went with, okay, we're just going to do it by numbers. Everyone hated that too. They don't want corporate swill. They don't want just robotic numbers. They want what people are actually in touch with, what people are actually viewing. All right, when they connect with the audience, that's what they really, really want. But the corporations can never comprehend this. They can't comprehend. Okay, they just think that okay, we got the old creative director back, so everything's going to be good now. No, it's not. Like it's not just the creative director. It has to be his story. It has to be his lore, his ship to run. It can't be that okay, I can run the ship now, but I also have to now add on to the lore and continue the storyline left off by an idiot. And now I have to still reach numbers and agendas, with this whole we gotta evolve WoW and change what it means. Like, no, people don't want it to change what it means. People liked what it already meant. So this is just ridiculous.
It's going. We want it to be approachable.
Today, both the Horde and the Alliance can easily play together, whether that's raids, dungeons, PvP. I mean, they can even join the same guild. And with that, it's become way less about war and much more about art and aesthetics. Some players call it the Disneyfication of World of Warcraft.
It really is like Disney diverse now.
So how do you go from being the greatest game of all time to now not even want to stand by your name?
Even with Chris Metzen, we talk about, sometimes he's like, man, I wish we hadn't called it Warcraft. Sounds kind of intimidating.
Did you catch it? Because this isn't according to Holly, her own words. This is actually something Chris has said, that he wished they didn't call it Warcraft. Chris Metzen has entirely changed his perspective on the story that he's writing, meaning that it's no longer supporting the core concept.
It lost his balls.
Of what made WoW so good, which is war and conflict between the two factions. And the reason why they don't even want to call it Warcraft anymore is because that the name itself is actually a promise. Warcraft. And the people who
needs to be war, needs to be conflict. That's why people liked it. It's just in the name. The conflict is in the name.
Who are designing the world now, well, they don't want to keep that promise anymore because the promise was made by an entirely different group of people. If you take out the war, well, all that's really left is just scenery. But of course, in today's day and age, for Blizzard to split the player
can't have conflict, that's scary.
Base in half, make sure that they can't even talk to each other, and let strangers in the Barrens ruin each other's evening on purpose, that idea dies within 5 minutes in any design meeting today. We even heard Jeff say that back then it was a controversial decision, but Alan believed in it so much that they just had to go forward with it. But at Blizzard, there's not really anyone left to fight for the war. Clearly, not even Metzen. And that is why that there will never be another World of Warcraft.
Not anymore, anyway. All right, chat. We're going to go ahead and end the stream for a day. So that's what happened to Warcraft. I didn't know the businessman part, but yeah, usually the businessmen are not all that great at the creative part. They're really good at selling products, which is, it's another formula altogether. Like identify what people want and then sell it to them. But it doesn't really work so well in the creative venture. It just doesn't. But anyway, chat, we're going to close out the stream for a day. Hope you had a wonderful time, chat. Hope you had a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you very much for being best, chat. See you again, of course, next time.
On a cold winter morning in the time before the light, in flames of death's eternal reign, we ride towards the fight. When the darkness has fallen down